Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
Absolutely phenomenal seasonal podcast.
The fuck are you talking about? That shit's
totally poggers, dude. All right, you nematodes. Here's the situation. 2019 review as a whole is so goddamn thick that we had to divide it into 2 parts. Each part with 2 seasons on them. You could say it's a 2-pack of 2-packs. What the fuck? That's it. I'm not even going to apologize for this being late. I don't give a funk.
And, spoilers and coarse language, of course. Viewer discretion is advised.
Do you feel like you liked Hurting Feelings previously? Like, did you get an enjoyment from it in previous years?
No, I think that I didn't love myself, and I think that that showed in how I treated others sometimes.
Hello everyone and welcome to 2019 in Review. We're talking to you here from winter 2019 and we're about to start this review off with a bang and probably start it off with the best season of the year. So I'm lucky to be joined by so many great people. We got Theleux. How you doing?
Doing pretty great. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for joining us. We got Taiboss.
Hi. Thank you for letting us record this at a time where I am not completely tired, like 2 a.m. So thank you, all three of you, for doing that.
Of course. I'm glad we could conquer time zones for once. Doing it big. And we're also joined by Pat. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing all right. I'm glad to be back to my 3rd year in review. I expect to have a lot of fun.
Great. We're excited to have you guys on. Is this your 3rd time doing winter, too?
I'm not sure. I really am not sure. But probably. Now that I think about it, probably, yeah.
I think you were on winter last year, and I pretty much stole this from Moz.
Yeah, last year for sure. I'm not sure about the year before that.
Yeah, I forget that. I barely remember this year, so I barely remember last year. But yeah, but it's good that we get to record this talking about winter, even though it's been a few months, and by the time this is released, it will have already been 2020, so it'll probably be winter 2020 when anyone is listening to this. So it's nice to bring it back a year to look at how great of a season this was. And starting off, I guess this is came out and the first episode dropped and people already considered it anime of the year potential. And of course, I'm talking about the sequel to Mob Psycho 100, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2.
Already the first show I didn't watch. Shame on me.
Staying on brand, where we always try and watch everything and then kind of miss it. But I think the rest of us did see it, and what a season this was. How did you guys feel about this?
Well, I guess for me, it kind of ended up being... I'm just looking at the shows we're going to be going through, and I'm pretty sure it's my favorite one that aired. It kind of amplified everything from the previous season, and then brought in a lot of emotion, too, for characters that didn't really have any, particularly the main character, Mob, right? And I agree, the first episode was outstanding, so I was very hyped going into it after that first episode.
Yeah, same. I was probably one of the weirder ones in that I liked the first season of Mob Psycho 100, but I wasn't super keen on it, mostly because I thought it was the first half was a bit slow for me, and then I got more attached as it went on. So when I got to see the first episode of Mob Psycho Season 2, I was blown away, because they did such a great job of introducing him again, and, introducing his emotional intelligence and his empathy with everyone. And I just remember that sequence of him picking up the torn up story that girl wrote, and he put it back together, and it just looked really beautiful. And I think that was just such a great way to start off Mob Psycho's 2nd season, and kind of just start off the year. It just felt like hitting it on the right note. Pat, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, because I wasn't the biggest fan of season 1. I liked it. I think it was a good show, but I wasn't huge on it. But season
There's
2,
more of us. Holy shit.
yeah. But season 2 really blew me away. Alongside with another show of winter that we're gonna talk about later. It is currently tied for my anime of the year, and of course, we're not finished with the year yet, so that might change. Although I doubt it, and that's because really, what Mob Psycho did on season 2 was phenomenal. Every part of it, like visuals, was great. Soundtrack was great. The character development. Reagan is one of my favorite characters all time, and he just got like a lot better on season 2. And really, I was so happy with pretty much everything they did in season 2.
Yeah, that's a good way to summarize it up too, because there's so many great aspects that they just hit on all aspects, that they have so many great things to it. Like thinking about how great Reagan's development was, that was like a highlight of the season. But then you also have like Mob's internal struggle. They had that I want to call it battle of the minds, which sounds like a bit of a meme, but you know, in his own mind, he was yeah. And then they have that like essentially what feels like the final boss fight with the other huge psychic. I forget his name, but you guys know who I mean. I don't remember him, but that was really impactful too. And it was just felt like the epitome of everything that Mob Psycho was building up to be, and they executed it so well. Especially the visuals always looked really amazing. The soundtrack was amazing, and the voice acting was amazing too. It was just pretty much as close to perfect as you could get. It was such a great sequel to the original season.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, for me, it kind of ended up being, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I thought the first season was a lot weaker. I didn't really but I didn't overly enjoy the ending of the previous season. It just kind of felt weaker compared to what was going on at the beginning, and I really liked how all these characters were being introduced. But right off the bat, we get that first episode, and Mob has emotions, and he like cares about people, and he, like, his problem always has been that he kind of like keeps to himself a bit, doesn't really show anything. So when he showed it, I was like, this is going to be a great season. And then we got a bit more of Reagan, because we already got past the point where, okay, we know he's a scam, right? He doesn't have powers. So they kind of had to dive into that more.
Didn't we know that since like episode 1 of season 1?
Yeah.
Like that's the only episode I watched. And the only thing I know is that this Reagan guy is a giant fraud who keeps scamming people, and Mob is the guy who actually fixes stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was cool to see how they would deal with the elephant in the room that Reagan is a scam artist. Like, you knew that they would have to deal with it at some point, but the way they dealt with it, I thought was really, like, I want to say really timely and topical, because, they just kind of show him getting canceled on the internet and being exposed by everyone. And I like that the way he had to fix it was kind of like making amends with Mob, and how Mob revealed, that one post-credit scene that just like, I think of it and still get feels, where they show Reagan walking down the street and they have Mob there, and he's like, how long did you know? And then Mob says, I knew from the get-go that you were a good guy. And it's really cute. And like Reagan almost cries, and then I almost cry, and then we all almost cry together.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Some sad music.
Yeah,
it was like...
Yeah, the entire arc I thought was like really sweet. Like the whole development of Reagan and Mob's relationship in season 2 was nothing short of sweet. And the overachieving arc of the season 2 was really well executed, which is impressive given that the more contained episodes, like episode 1 and episode 2, by the way, I really liked episode 2. You're all talking about episode 1, but I think my favorite episode was actually episode 2. It was the girl episode, like the ghost lady episode or something like that.
Yeah,
I thought episode was great,
that.
man. The episode was so good. And it is a self-contained story in one episode, and it's just as good as the rest of the season. I am really amazed by what they managed to do with season 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was really well done. That was an interesting moment too, because up until that point, everyone kind of thought that we all thought that Reagan was kind of gonna like use Mob for anything, but I think that was the first sign of showing him putting Mob's emotional feelings and emotional well-being above making money, which was pretty cool. So I really appreciated that, just to see that was really cool, and I think it set the stage for events later on in the season.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what my favorite episode was, because they were all really solid. I remember seeing, I think it was the third episode when it had the family that was like already, that passed away. That one stood out to me, because a lot of people are like, oh, we just got 2 action kind of focused episodes and now we're going low and it's kind of lame. But it really impacted me, I felt, because Mob was giving a damn about these things he always is exercising, right? So that was cool to see. And then Reagan was also seeing another side of Mob too at the time, which led into his whole downfall thing, right?
Yeah.
So very cool.
Yeah, it was such a good season. I feel like it's cool to say that, like, we can all sit here and we can all have, like, completely different favorite aspects of it, and all of them feel like they were, you know, season-making moments.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you guys felt about this, because this was something I was talking about the other day. But how do you feel about the issue of picking, like, a sequel as anime of the year versus just picking something that came out that year?
I think it kind of works for me, because it wasn't just like this is a sequel. Like, it completely amplified the story and all elements of it, and it kind of felt like its own thing because it was so much better. So I'm okay with it, especially since we keep getting like loads and loads of sequels now at this point. It feels weird to like list one as like, this is my favorite show of the year. You'd think it'd be something new, but nothing has really... I mean, there's other shows that have stood out from like, I guess, summer season and stuff, but this one definitely is like left an impact.
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern, like to say that you would rather have a regional show as your favorite, but I personally don't have an issue with having a sequel as my favorite of the year. So I don't know. I guess it's valid. It's a valid point, but I don't see why if a sequel is actually the best show of the year, why it shouldn't be your anime of the year. Like, it's essentially a new show if you think about it in terms of production.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel the same way, because I was thinking about it, and I think there's a really valid point for saying, you know, I want new shows that only came out in 2019 or any year to be anime of the year contenders, because you kind of want it to be like something that came out that year that kind of defines that year. But I think there's so many sequels coming out, as Theleux said, and there's so many sequels that are coming out and like kind of defining the year with iconic moments and iconic scenes. So like, I know when I think back to 2019, I will think of Mob Psycho Season 2 above many one-core seasons that only came out this year, you know? And it is like, and it's like a matter of quality. Like, if it's one of the best shows of the year, and we all can agree on that, like, I'm not going to rule it out just because it's a sequel. And so I'm glad we're all on the same page there. I don't know if it's like my actual anime of the year, but I don't want it to be ruled out of anime of the year discussion when I think it deserves to be there.
It is just that good. Okay, I understand. I'll watch it.
It is just that good. It has converted the haters. Well, most
you
of
can
them.
definitely like go and make your own. Okay, anime of the year, but only shows that like are not sequels, and you can do that. But I think across the board, it's still an anime that aired, right?
I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna do anime of the year contenders, but only sequels. And see how that goes.
Yeah, I do.
How that goes.
I do want to mention another episode that really stood out to me, though. And it was kind of a weird one because I definitely wasn't expecting it. I haven't read the manga or anything, but I believe it was episode 8, which is what brought us into the whole climax of the show, or at least this season, with the fire. And that one gave me goosebumps as soon as I saw it. I think I rewatched the end scene of it probably like 4 times after seeing it the first one. Just another point that I really enjoyed.
Is that the one where they leave you on like a pretty big cliffhanger?
Yeah, it's all happy, and then the cliffhanger hits you. And you're like, holy shit!
that was insane. That was insane. That was a great ending to an episode. That was like, okay, we're really in this. I remember that. That was awesome. Man, I want to rewatch Mob Psycho Season 2 now. This is great. We got to go do that.
Yeah.
Time to rewatch.
Also, I have to mention that probably my favorite opening of the year is Mob Psycho Season 2.
It's really up there for me. I get yelled at on Twitter when
I love that
I
opening.
get yelled at for not having it as my number one, but it's such a good one. I like it more than the season 1 opening too. And it's so
for sure,
catchy
for
and
sure.
So fun.
Yeah, I like it a lot
Yeah.
more than I like.
I'm the opposite of that. I do like the opening, but I think the first season had a lot more like connection to the plot, and it even referenced stuff in this season.
Yeah, the broccoli.
More so than
Yeah,
more
the
so than
broccoli.
the newest ones.
Yeah, it definitely has more references, but I think the season 2 opening is, I don't know, it's just cooler. It meshes better with the song. I don't know. Maybe I just like the song. I like the song more, I guess.
I do like the song more.
Yeah,
I think that
that's fair
carries
enough.
a lot. Yeah, I think they're both excellent openings, but this one just hits harder. And yeah. Oh, like pretty much opening of the year potential, pretty much anime of the year potential. Mob still hits.
Yeah, good
So
stuff.
good stuff. So moving on to a show that did actually just come out this year and is not a sequel. We have obviously my darling, The Promised Neverland.
Finally, a show I've watched.
We got him in 2. So I'm glad. I think we've all seen this one.
Yeah.
We, as hopefully everyone watches this knows that we had a weekly series covering every episode called The Promised Never Weekly. So I discussed it to death a lot. Like I've said pretty much anything I could say about it. So the room wants to know, what do you guys think about it?
I'll go last because I probably have the
Go ahead, Ty. Why don't you start? Because you actually seen this one.
Yeah.
I'm still like in preparing for this podcast, I was thinking about, okay, what do I talk about with Promised Neverland?
Yeah.
And I could only think about one thing about the final third of the show, and the rest is just blank. What do I say? It's good. It's not my anime of the season or even anime of the year, obviously, because that's Mob. No, stupid joke.
I didn't even see Mob, but we know.
It's my AOTY without even watching it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, it transcends time and space to go into my head. No, what I mean is just, the same things that other people have said. It's good show. It's not a super amazeballs show. It has its flaws. It had its problems. I feel like it should have been shorter, at least that arc. Like, I thought the whole thing with Sister Rosa, I think Rosa was her name.
You mean the Krone or?
The black one.
Yeah, Krone.
The black woman.
Or Crone. Sister Krone.
Crone, okay. It wasn't, like, it felt too long, or...
Yeah.
I don't want to say her character was superfluous. It had its point, let's just call it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it feels too long. It feels like it was a 12-episode show of an 8-episode arc or something like that.
I can see that. That makes sense. I feel that.
And, okay, and now the thing that about the last third I wanted to talk about is that in the end they have this plan, and it's always like one character doesn't know the full extent of the plan, and it's like something happens and they're like, oh god, we're doomed, and the other character is like, no, we planned for this. And then you have this flashback to what actually happened.
Yeah.
It's this unspoken plan character. Like, you can't reveal a plan in a work of fiction and then have that plan go out without a hitch. If you see a planning scene, you know the plan is going to fail. If you don't see a scene, you know it's going to succeed.
Yeah.
And there it basically was like, we saw a kind of a plan, that plan fails, but then there's a reveal, actually we planned ahead, we planned exactly for this case. But this happens like 3 or 4 times, and at that point I was like, okay, just give me the whole flashback now so I can stop being surprised at this show. Please. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this show.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think you just ruined mysteries and strategic shows for me forever, because now I will remember that. And I will now I will know, like, they're not showing us the plan that's over. That's a good trick, though. What did you guys think?
Well, I liked Promised Neverland, not as much as I like Mob and other shows of the season. I think the most interesting aspect of the show, and I guess the manga as well, is the world. I think the world is fascinating. The world building is great, and one thing that the anime did for me, it's made me really curious as to what's ahead of the story. Like, what's going to happen now? I guess I'm waiting for season 2 because I'm not reading the manga.
Yeah, it's cool that they got a season 2 announcement, like, immediately. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. So definitely gonna watch season 2 because I'm super curious to find out what the hell is happening in this world. Like, and I guess I really like Emma as well. I think it's great when we have a female protagonist that is so good and like her, and she reminds me like of Maka from Soul Eater because it's kind of similar character. And I really like Maka, so I was happy with Emma. But I agree with some of the Thai's points. Like, I think it dragged a little bit in the mid part of the show, I guess. And I don't know, man. It just lacked something to make it like extra good, like Mob. The visual part was competent, I guess. I seen people like complain about some stuff, like the POV shots, and I honestly disagree with most of those complaints. I think the show did a fine job with its visuals. I think the POV shots worked for the most part. So I'm happy with what the show gave to me. So yeah, it was a good show. I'm excited for season 2.
Nice. Yeah, I think, Theleux, you read it too. Yeah, so we're both manga readers. So I think that, like, definitely changes our perspective a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, well, I already told you my thoughts, but I'll regurgitate them. So I went in with... I actually didn't watch it out as it was airing, so I wasn't with that group, but I have read the good bit of the manga. So I went in with kind of not really high expectations, but I was just excited to watch it. And overall, I wasn't really impressed. My issues with it, one part being because my profession is in more audio stuff, I wasn't fond with how they were using the music, and kind of like when you design a scene for like a suspense or like thriller, you're trying to like build up these moments that are like supposed to be tense, right? And I felt like when they were trying to do that, they'd kind of get it, and then they'd stop playing the music or something, or they'd switch back to like a normal scene. So it doesn't really keep building up that tense feeling. It just kind of like, here's a little drop of it, then go back to normal. So that kind of was ruining it for me because I really liked how intense the manga was at times. I've never really been a fan of the arc that this covers with the other sister that shows up. It kind of just felt like it didn't really need to be there. It did reveal some more information about Rei and other characters, but it kind of was just like, they're here, you know that they're gonna they're trying to get rid of the main mama, and then they're gone and they're dead. So it didn't really do much for me. I was thoroughly impressed by the last 2 episodes. They did that really well, and I probably prefer it over the manga, with the whole flashbacks and everything, and definitely improved that. But yeah, I just wasn't as... I was kind of like feeling like I wanted to skip through it, and I didn't. But I was like, that's not a good feeling when I'm watching something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just wasn't... I felt like they tried to do things, because there's a lot of moments where characters are talking to each other, and it's supposed to be really interesting, but I didn't find it interesting while watching. There was just... I guess with how they were presenting the dialogue, it just kind of seemed sort of silly. They did some cool stuff, like they'd have a bunch of transitions, because this whole house is... I assume it's CG, it looked like it was.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it was.
They had like cool transitions, like going from one room, they'd go literally through the room, so it'd be like through the bookshelf and then to the next room, or they do rotating shots around, which I think are cool, but it just was kind of missing the point, because it kind of just happened randomly. So it was decently animated, and I think the faces were kind of silly, but it was definitely like, sometimes it worked really well. Sometimes it didn't hit the mark. So definitely not in my top of the season at all, but I am excited for the second season, because I started liking the series a bit more once they got away from the whole house, and they're kind of just like surviving on their own.
That's a cool take to have, because I know a lot of people kind of have this as like their favorite arc, and then they're like, oh, and then it goes downhill from there. But I'm kind of with you where, like, I like this arc a lot, and then my enjoyment kind of increased as we did learn more about the world and everything. And I think, interestingly enough, I think that even though they probably did a worse job of adapting this part of the manga than, like, you know, I think the quality of the anime part of this arc is worse than the quality of the manga, but I think they'll do a better job with the anime part of the next arc than they will in the manga, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think my main issue was I went in expecting kind of like a thriller, and it kind of just felt like a regular like shonen. And the issue with the house is that outside of like mama taking away a child every month or whatever it was, there's not really anything else that's like to worry about. You're kind of just like, okay, we can go and screw up something, but it's not like we're going to be sent away earlier. And she knows where we are, but it's still every month something's going to happen. So it was kind of a waiting game. So a little disappointed there. But overall, I don't think it was terrible. I think there was some really good moments. Like I said, the last couple episodes were solid. The intro I thought was good, but there was one part where they reveal like the big, you know, oh, there's a dead body in this truck. And then they cut it at that moment, and I guess it was like halfway mark of the episode, and then they start up again. Completely killed all tension in that moment. So
is that
was
the first
like,
episode? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, maybe it was my release or something. I don't know. I went for whatever the best one was supposedly, and it kind of was just like, yeah, they go and look in the truck, and then it's the reveal of who was it? Connie, I guess.
Connie, yeah.
Yeah, she was in there. I was like, oh, okay. And I already knew that, but still, I was like, all right, that's because they were building up nice with like the water droplets and stuff. And then as soon as they show her face, it's like 1 or 2 seconds, and then it cuts and it goes back, and it's like there's no music or anything. It's just right back outside. Like it clearly felt like an intermission. I think they showed their faces, right? They showed. So I feel like they showed her, and then it cut, and then it went like outside, so it felt like it was like a halfway mark of the episode, like an intermission, and then it showed their faces. It was weird.
Oh, I don't remember that, because I think in all of my releases it was like streamlined and you just saw, like, the scene was continuous. Because I remember thinking that they handled that scene really well. Like, I thought, like, no complaints towards that. They built up tension really well. Mm-hmm. And I think the facial animation they had in that scene was, like, really on point.
Yeah. I didn't know faces could stretch like that, though. It was kind of... Yeah. It's definitely an interesting way of doing it, but it worked. I think the first episode and the last couple were probably the best ones, though.
Yeah, I'm like kind of torn because I think overall I really enjoyed it and I think it's a great season. I think it could have been adapted a bit better. I think we could have had the internal monologues. Crone could have been like less extra, you know. You guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about my complaints about the doll. We didn't need that. So there were a few things that they changed that I think kind of hindered it from being really great. Even though to me, like, I'm so biased that I'm like, okay, this is still great. I still really enjoyed it. And I've had a lot of success in showing this to non-anime fans and getting them interested, which I think is a kind of a cool success because it's such a short season. You can kind of sell it to people. And I think it can work as a pretty good entry-level anime, which I think brings in a lot of value because then they watch more anime and continue to watch things. So I appreciate it for that. But I am like a bit disappointed in some of the directing decisions they made. But as I said before, I'm really excited for season 2 because I think the way they handled this season might not have been the best for this arc, but I think it'll work really well for the upcoming arcs.
Yeah,
so
I agree there.
Yeah.
Maybe that was their intention.
Yeah, it might have actually, it sounds like it was their intention. So and it's interesting that they have, I don't know how many cores we're going to have for the second season, but I think we're going to get to some really interesting stuff. So I'm excited to see that whenever it comes out. And I do like the opening a lot with
the opening's great. The opening's great. Probably my favorite Overworld opening, pretty sure.
Yeah, same. But our first of many openings that have fire in the song. So it's a bunch of fire openings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty cool, and we'll see what Promised Neverland has in store in season 2. Speaking of season 2, this is really exciting because they just released the announcement that we will get a season 2 of Kaguya-Sama Love is War. And I can't get out of my head that it's not like Kaguya-sama wants to be confessed to. It's Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Yeah, what a title.
What a title.
It's so weird that for manga they try to like shrink down the chapter titles, but light novel publishers just use the original title as is. Like You can look up licensed manga and you think to yourself, how did that get published with that long title?
Yeah.
Light novels love the long titles, though, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of characteristic. But yeah, Kaguya. Can I start with Kaguya?
You start,
please?
because you've been like the OG Kaguya stan that I know. This is like your child, in a way.
Yeah, it is. I'm the original Kaguya stan, because like I've been a fan of this manga since chapter 1. Like chapter 1 came out on our
You were a
manga.
day one Kaguya stan.
I'm a K1 Kaguya stan. And it just... what's the word in English? It just magicked me from day one, because like, how do you say this in English? Enchanted?
Enchanted's a good word.
Enchanted is a good word. Okay, so basically it enchanted me from day one. It was just so different. Like, I had read a lot of slice of life kind of manga, and the dialogue was just not so non-generic. It was so creative, so different. They didn't talk like in any other comedy manga. It's a terrible realization, but once you get more into Japanese, you realize how many phrases just pop up in like every anime, in every manga. It's so... And the translators, if they're stupid, always translate it the same. So it's always like, in Japanese, if you end a sentence with a ka, it's a question, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a stupid translator, you always translate it like with the sentence and then with a huh at the end.
Yeah.
Kept you waiting, huh? And like having that in like 10 different scanlations of 10 different manga it's just so like you see the Japanese behind it. But that has nothing to do with Kaguya. Back to that. I ramble too often.
No, that's good to know, actually.
The last time I rambled too on, it was 2 a.m. and I got cut out with like a SpongeBob an eternity later. It was deserved. It was deserved, to be honest. But like, I don't want to make it.
But this is a good to know, though. I feel like I'm learning more about manga. But please continue. Dozo.
Okay, so... Dozo, thank you. Kaguya, the anime, I've been waiting long for an anime. I was one of the few people who did not want to have it made by Studio Shaft, which for some reason people wanted.
I don't know why they wanted that. Because it was like the manga has such dark shading. That's kind of like the first thing they're like, oh, there you go. It's got to be Shaft.
And also because it's mind battles, and they think Shaft Monogatari style storyboarding, perfect for mind battles.
Or maybe it's because the only good studio that people can think of is Shaft.
Possibly.
And it's tough when people are like, it's really funny when you think about how like everyone's like, okay, we want Studio Shaft for this, and then the director ended up, and then it went to A1, and everyone had a mental breakdown, and then you realize that A1's director was an ex-Shaft worker. He worked at Shaft before coming to A1. So it's essentially having Shaft work on the anime, even though they're at a different studio.
Yeah, people. It's not about the studio, it's about the staff, please. Look at the staff.
Exactly.
Good.
Remember that every time. It's not the studio, it's the staff that works on it.
Yeah, that was weird because...
Kaguya had... you, Pat. You wanted to say something.
No, it's still... Go.
Not you.
It was weird because with the director, they did come from Shaft, but... To me, it more mattered what they had actually worked on, because, you look at, like, something like Fire Force, and that's definitely Shaft influenced. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering what else, but they did Grand Crest Senki, which is one of the shows I liked last year. I know a lot of people didn't like it because it's kind of rushed, but I liked it, and the directing was pretty good. They also worked on Shaft shows like Arakawa, Under the Bridge, and Denpa Onna, but they also did Rakugo.
Yeah, that's the big one.
That was the big one, yeah.
And that's really cool. So you look at his pedigree and you're like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's made a lot of great shows. We can trust him. And then, so Ty, I guess you probably had the highest expectations for the season. How did it turn out for you?
It was good. Adapting the manga as is into an anime 1-to-1 is really hard and probably wouldn't have probably worked, because the manga started out as a monthly, but was apparently so popular that after 10 chapters they switched to a weekly magazine. And they like redid scenes and redid smaller storylines so that the new readers would still have that. And they kind of did that in the anime with the first 2 episodes, where it feels like a lot of things are repeating, but else like the manga immediately starts with a kind of arc where they go to the cinema and Kaguya was never at the cinema because she's rich and stuff. Like they cut that out from the anime, I think. And
I think they had that.
It worked. They did? Maybe
I
later.
I think they had that in one of the first couple episodes.
It was a pretty short sequence, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they made it pretty short.
Yeah, I think it was longer in the manga, but yeah, that's the point. The anime knew what to adapt, and I constantly have to tell my computer not to shut down the screens because like I keep not moving my mouse while I talk, and now. Okay, so yeah, basically, good adaptation of a great manga. My anime of the season tied with Gotoba no Hanayome, which I'm also like a day one manga stan. So that's great that I got those two in the same season, and they're both great adaptations.
That sounds like a huge treat. So that's awesome. That's like really exciting. I'm not a day oneer, but I did read the manga, so I like read it ahead of the season coming out. So I was like, I think I read it kind of simultaneously. Like, I think I read some of the manga, then the first episode came out, then I binged it. You guys know the pattern where you're like, oh, I'm really invested in this show and I have to wait a week. Time to binge the manga.
Yeah.
And I was really hooked on it and I really enjoyed reading it, but I did recognize, like, it's going to be kind of tough to handle some of the jokes and some of the gags and, you know, really make them work. But I think they did a great job of making so much of the comedy hit. I think it's also kind of genius. I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but I feel like Kaguya was like normal popular, but not super popular until that Chika ending came out, like that really special one.
Probably. Yeah, it was a really special one. Probably my favorite of the year.
Yeah, it's like it was a standout ending. I think they did it in like all ones. Like the animation is top tier. It was such a funny ending, but it also is so cute. So
and it's such a catchy song. It's a great song.
Yeah, and they just like that went viral, obviously, and then everyone's like, okay, I gotta get to see the show with the Chika ending. And I think that was just such a like genius way of kind of bringing people into the show because it kind of brought them into the series in a way that felt on brand for Kaguya, you know? Like they used a Kaguya way to bring everyone on board to watch the anime. And it was just, you know, it was huge moving on from there. Like it was already big, but then it just exploded even more.
Yeah, I agree.
So I thought that was great. Oh, go ahead.
I really like Kaguya too. I definitely agree with what you said. I think what really contributed to its popularity was definitely the Chika ending, which again was great. And and also again, props. I have to talk about the voice actors. The voice actors were so good. Every one of them was so good, especially Konami Kohara, which is of course Chika. She was amazing, and this year it's her year for me with Chika and also her work in Machikado Masaku. I think she's becoming one of my favorite VAs of all time. She's so good. Her comedic timing is amazing. I mean, whoever watched Mahojin Guru Guru already knows that she's great with comedy.
She's really good in that.
Yeah. So she really blow me away, and I thought the VAs, not only her, the main cast voice actors were definitely a big part of why this show succeeded in my eyes and being so good. And my anime of the season tied with Mob, and anime of the year actually tied with Mob. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, this is so high up there for me. They handled so much of the jokes really well on like an episode to episode basis, but what they also really nailed, which is tough to do, is the more emotional, I don't want to say dramatic moments, but you know, the more serious moments, especially the fireworks arc, which is a huge highlight of the manga for me. So I was waiting with bated breath until the last two episodes to see how are they going to handle the fireworks episode. And they absolutely nailed it. They did such a great job. I felt the same way I did when reading the manga. And it was just a really powerful way to kind of send the season off.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. So I am beyond excited that we got a season 2. It took a bit longer than the other season 2 announcements, but I am very excited.
The one thing that matters is that it happens.
Yeah. As long as we get the season 2 announcement, then we're good. I will not be salty about when it is revealed. I'm just excited that we have confirmation of a season 2.
Yeah. For me,
yeah.
So Kaguya was something I read or binged pretty hard, probably a year or two before the anime was announced. And I was excited for it, but I hadn't read it in a while. So I was going off of like, I remember this scene in particular and stuff like that. So when it was announced that A1 was going to be doing it and I saw the staff, I was a little curious because it's kind of a weird manga to adapt. I mean, most manga are weird to adapt, but this one is like very episodic and short, like skits and stuff, and very intense. So the production wasn't really all that great, so I've heard, at least like the team they had behind it, but they managed to do so much with such little resources, and that impressed me beyond what I like any expectations here. So that is something I give massive props to, especially like the Chica dance ending. That was something that was like out of Left Wing, had no idea that was going to happen. And now I don't really think it's like, oh, this is a crazy great ending, but it's an interesting one, and it definitely brought a lot of people in. If I had to complain about anything from the anime, it would probably be the very last episode after the fireworks, because it kind of, it was a lead into the second season, but it kind of left it on like a weaker note, which I wasn't fond of. I thought if they did the fireworks and then kind of just like leaded towards, okay, there's could be another season, would have been cool.
I know what you mean.
Unfortunately, it's always something that gets me. If something gets... Okay, so the Chica ending came out and it just kind of blew up. If I wish I didn't watch this show while it aired, because the entire fan base really brought it down for me, which is unfortunate because it's not really the show's fault. But that's definitely something that like I look at it now sometimes and I'm like, oh man, I'm remembering all these like things I'm not fond of. But I still think it was a really great show. That's just an issue, I guess, with how it was consumed at the time. I did watch it with my friend from school, and we had a blast, so he's excited to hear that there's another season coming in too. But if I had to get involved with like on Reddit or anything, it's just not a good time.
Yeah, I think it's always tough because you never want to say like the fan base kind of hinders it, but I think we've all had those moments where like the fan base has influenced us one way or another, and we can try and like separate our feelings from the show, but sometimes it's better to just experience shows completely devoid of the fan base. Like,
Boku no Hero. Boku no Hero. Sorry, I have a cough, guys.
No, I was actually thinking instead, I was thinking of, I think it's the previous year, or I think it was 2017. I was thinking back to Maid Dragon, and I remember everyone spamming kind of fan art and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm just not going to watch this because I know I'm going to get annoyed. Yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this. So I waited kind of like half a year, and I watched Maid Dragon devoid of any kind of fan talk or like fan art, anything, like no one was talking about it by then. And I really enjoyed it. And I know for a fact, if I watched it while it was airing, I would not have enjoyed it as much. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But
I still do have like a lot of parts I like. I think the directing was really solid in it. There were some parts I was like, okay, you got to stop repeating these moments and things. But it was still interesting how they incorporated those, because a lot of the panels in the manga have just like the intensity lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And they use those pretty well. They had the moving backgrounds and stuff. It did kind of make me think. I've noticed recently that if I'm watching like a big show like this that gets adapted, it makes me realize, okay, this series is actually kind of like a lot of the other ones. Like to me, this is still just like a romance or a focused on comedy rom-com, but there's a lot more intensity. Yeah, or com-rom, I guess you'd say. A lot more intensity to it, and the comedic timing was very solid compared to a lot of other shows that kept hitting you with jokes. Some didn't always land, but the majority of them did. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for season 2.
Yeah. So I think that was great. I think Kagi is one of the strongest of the year. I think we're so lucky that we have so many strong shows in this season. Like,
it's probably my favorite so far, maybe next to Fall.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how Fall turns out, but Fall's looking pretty strong. Fall is always a sleeper hit. Everyone always sleeps on Fall, and then Fall comes out of nowhere and is like, oh, look, I was a really good season. Surprise.
Yeah, I always thought it was summer that would be that way, but not this year.
No. I think that's been true for the past 2 years, but I'm not sure.
I just want to mention real quick. Please, more Hayasaka in season 2, please. She's my favorite.
Hayasaka is great. Like, they're all great. I love them all so much. All the characters are good.
Yeah,
it's interesting because she's not really that, like, prominent in this season, but she really, like, because they're so defined, with their personalities and stuff, they really do make an impression. And it's interesting because you'll have, like, you look at, like, best girl contests or just, like, memes online, and all of them are specifically geared towards whatever their personality is. And it's
Justice for
interesting.
Hayasaka.
Yep.
She breathed as easily. She lied as easily as she breathed. My favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see more of her and see more of everyone in the next season because we do have a season 2. Praise be. Speaking of a show we will not have a season 2 for, but we don't need one, is Dorororo, which was pretty interesting. At least we got the first half of Dorororo because it was a 2-core, and then the second half finished off in spring. But we can talk about both of them. I don't think Spring is going to mention them. So this is an interesting one for me because I think it started out really strong and I was really excited by it. I really enjoyed, especially the first half. I think it just had that really cool, I want to say mature feeling, but like very serious, tragic take on samurai culture and like I guess it's the period where it's the Warring States. I think it's called the Warring States period where everyone's just at war with each other. You know, everyone is poor and dying and, you know, they're just trying to survive. And, you know, you kind of get to experience this melancholy feel to an action adventure series, which felt really cool. And I liked a lot of the presentation of it. But I found the second half to be a bit disappointing and kind of didn't need to exist. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt like that, but overall, I think the series was pretty good. I really enjoyed it, even though I think it could have been great, but it was just kind of like pretty good instead.
I agree with every single thing you just said. Like,
yes,
absolutely 100%. Like, I really enjoyed the start. The first half was great, but then I don't know what the hell happened, man. Because oh my god, the second half was such a snooze fest for me. I thought about dropping it multiple times during the second half. I really did not enjoy much of what happened. But the first half was definitely made it worth the watch because it was really good, really interesting. The whole aesthetics of it, the themes of it. I enjoyed a lot of the first half. And I guess in the end it was worth the watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so tough because there's so many seasons that start slow and get good, but this was like pretty clear cut, started great, got really boring. Like you could almost advocate for like just stop in the middle of it. You can actually just stop and be fine.
Yeah. I read the manga before this, like quite a while ago. It's pretty old.
Oh, nice.
So I definitely enjoy the adaptation of it. I only ended up watching up until the whole Mio thing, which is probably like my favorite part of it, because it's pretty tragic.
That's like episode 4, I think.
I think it was like 6 or 7 was when I put it on hold, because for me, it felt a lot like Natsume or something like that, where you know you're gonna feel like that's like a feel good show, but like it makes you feel bad. It's a lot of feels going on. So
you're gonna feel things.
Is definitely that. I remember watching the first episode and being really impressed by the cinematography and just general like music and everything, and it was really like working well together. But I knew I was gonna get these bad feels, so it kind of like prevented me from continuing at times, because it'd be like, okay, I gotta watch these shows today. I'm not going to watch this one yet. I'll wait a little bit because I'm not in the mood for it. And I never ended up being in it. I did hear what the ending was. I was happy with it because it was a bit different than how the other parts, or how the anime played out. But yeah, I saw clips on Sakuga Buro and stuff like that. There was definitely a Mappa issue with the production there in like the middle and the second half, which is unfortunate. But there's still, I don't know, I think it was good. I'll probably finish at some point, but...
Yeah, but, like, you don't even need to. Like, you get through the halfway point and you can, like, actually just stop. Especially because we're...
If it really does get that slow. Because I don't mind, like, slow-paced shows, but if it's kind of just, like...
It's not slow for any good reason.
Monster of the Week kind of thing, that's when it gets a little boring.
Yeah, like, there's no real purpose in it becoming slower. Because I feel like the second half just kind of reiterated the themes of the first half without really adding much to it. So it was like continuing on with like Monster of the Week things, but I don't think they added much. Like, I remember at some point they did like Dororo's backstory in the first half. I remember being really impressive because they had a really cool aesthetic to it where they only showed black, white, and red colors.
Yeah.
So it made it stand out. But then they kind of reiterated her backstory in, I guess, more depth, but in much less of an interesting manner in the second half. And I was like, we don't need this. Like, we got her backstory. It was good. Like, move on, you know, do something else. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's also kind of representative. I think it's kind of easy to see the quality through the openings. Because I remember, like, the first opening is possibly my opening of the year, where it has
for me as well.
Great opening. That like crazy song. It's like 5 different genres in a minute and 30-second period. It's like the craziest song, and then they have really interesting presentation in the opening. It's tough to describe, but they use like a lot of monochrome, and you know they do like you look in someone's eyes, and that's how like they're showing events going on, you know, to show like memories or like things they see. And they have a lot of callbacks to manga panels in the opening. So it's just like such a treat to watch. And that's really cool. And then the second opening is like fine, but kind of a bit more. It's like a bit more of a generic battle shonen opening. And you're like, okay, so that's what this. Yeah, you're like, this is what the second half is going to be. So I don't know. It's so tough. I think it's worth watching, as Pat said, but just be prepared to the second half to not be as good as the first half.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop halfway through, I think that's a good call.
We'll see. It's definitely not on my priority list.
I'm really the odd one out here because I did not care for either opening. I did not think that the show suddenly got boring. I can see why you would think that. And in general, I maybe liked it more than you, maybe. I can't say. It's not a 10 out of 10 for me, but like I have the opinion, if you have it as a 10 out of 10, I can definitely see it. I can definitely see how you can see it as that great. It wasn't that great for me, but I don't have that feeling of I understand for a lot of shows. So...
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see someone having it as a 10. I could see loving it like that much and being that connected to it. I think it was just kind of sad because the aspects that I got really attached to in the first half were not present in the second half. Which is, you know, like, they definitely change. You can see a change between the two. So I could see it working the opposite way, where someone's not as into the first half, and then they really love the second half. So it can work either way.
Yeah. The ending was pretty good, too, I thought. But, we'll see.
Yeah, the ending was pretty solid. I think, I just feel it's like, there's like a stretch of episodes that I would have been like content with cutting out, and I don't think they would have like lost much quality, you know?
Yeah.
Which feels weird to say, but... You know, sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah.
So I guess this is one, I can't even think of a good meme transition for it, but this is one that people had many opinions on. Sometimes, this is a show that was wildly discussed. I think everyone kind of forgets about this now because it's calmed down, but we're talking about the rising of the Shield Hero. Made a big splash when it first came. Season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You ever have a show get Season 2 and 3 confirmed? I do think not.
It must have made that much money.
I don't even know. I don't know. I know it has Crunchyroll is like on the, I think Crunchyroll's on the production committee, which is why they announced it at like Crunchyroll Expo. But I don't know. So, yeah, who wants to start?
Okay, so as a fan of, or previous fan, okay, this is like I said with Kaguya, where I watch a show and then I realize I don't actually really like it as much as I thought I did before, and I still do like Kaguya, and I need to catch up with it because I know it gets really good. But I read Shield Hero, the manga, up to whatever the current one was. I think where the anime ended actually was what it was current at the time, and I quite enjoyed it. There was some really dumb moments, like comically evil villains and stuff like that at times. But it was a lot darker, and characters were more defined. Like, Raftalia was a lot more... I don't know how to say it. More interesting. So when I saw that the anime was happening, I was pretty hyped, and a lot of my friends were too. And I knew it was going to get the typical, like, oh, it's just like it's shit bullshit. But I saw that Kevin Penkin was doing the soundtrack, and he's probably, like, if not my idol, one of my, like, biggest inspirations. He's what made me go towards this profession in the first place.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was cool. Now, when I saw the first episode, it was I think they released like an hour-long one, or it was like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was like an hour premiere, I think.
Yeah, I was definitely not very impressed because it felt less intense. The music was so damn good. Like, I don't know how many... Did you guys all watch this? I assume you saw at least like the beginning. Yeah, so... the whole scene where it's like, it's a betrayal story, right? He's betrayed, and then it's just angsty boy for the rest of it. The whole betrayal in the castle was so intense with the music, but it just didn't feel intense. Kind of like how Neverland didn't feel really intense to me. Even though the music was complementing it, there's just like, it felt like there's a lack of animation and stuff at times. So, and they got to the end of the episode and it kind of just ended. I think they didn't have, because it was like that early release that Crunchyroll did or something without the ending and opening in it.
Yeah.
So it felt a bit weird. Kept moving on, and I started seeing how sloppy they were adapting these characters. Like, the knight and the other main heroes are kind of lame in the main story, but they're really lame in the anime. Like, holy crap,
they were,
are
like,
they
really
terrible?
extra.
And I know a lot of people were turned off because, it's he adopts a slave and starts using her, and people were like freaking out over that. To me, I usually, actually always, like to see how creative people can be, and I don't think it's wrong to use like slavery as a point in the series. If you kept going on, you'll notice, okay, she's not really a slave. Or I mean, I guess you can say she was a slave. She's not really a slave anymore. It's kind of like, a lot of these isekai games are based on like JRPGs and stuff like that, right? That have guilds and stuff. To me, the whole slavery system in this with Naofumi felt more like a party system, because I think they even mentioned that you get like, it's better for leveling up your
Yeah, it's kind of like shared experience.
Yeah, so to me it was like, okay, well, they seem to be fine with it. It's not like they were like brainwashed, and I know the other characters said they were, the whole dumb villainy thing.
Yeah.
But
I think that's like, I think there's a lot of truth to that, because I think there were like, the two big outrage points were the fact that the story was covering the idea of like someone being falsely accused of rape, and they thought that would kind of like perpetuate the idea that, rape victims are lying about being raped or something, perpetuate that idea, even though it's like 10% of the cases. And then there was the idea that it was glamorizing slavery. And I don't think there's actually a problem in covering either of these topics, because the way the series handles it is, like, it's pretty clear cut that, like, this is just everyone is ganging up on Naofumi and like utilizing this one point to try and get him, like, to vilify him. And the second point is, especially the slavery point, everyone in the series is like, you're scum for having a slave. No one is ever at this point, any point, being like, wow, that's pretty cool you have a slave, I want one. They're like, no, you're scum. You're getting a slave. That's so shitty of you. Like, fuck off.
If slavery is so shitty, why is it legal?
Yeah, that's the funny part too. Because it is legal, right? And in that sense, to me, it's like, okay, you see the people that are slaves, like Raphtalia is like walking by people that are being used for work and stuff. And that's clearly awful, and they definitely know it's awful, but it's legal. So to me, it's kind of like, I wouldn't go and get a slave or something like that if I was in this world, but I can see how he was at the lowest of his low at that point, and he needed a partner or someone to support him, because he literally can't attack anyone, right? He can only defend himself. So it was kind of like, okay, he's kind of got to do it, and then he ended up treating them really nice. I just want to skip ahead a bit, because that's the end of that topic there. I don't think... Okay, what really pisses me off with these adaptations is, one, they don't like to animate monsters in it. It's always CG. That really takes me out of it. Like, I like CG when it's done right, or it's like utilized well for like backgrounds and stuff. But if you have a monster that's like shitty CG, just screw off, because it completely takes me out of the moment. Philo, whatever her name was, I never really liked her, but she's kind of just like a comedic character. So I laughed when I saw her in the manga a couple times, and she was just there. Raphtalia's always been the interesting one. Still annoyed that people were like really upset about Raphtalia being this like, it's like a young girl mentally in an older person's body, but it's a game. She's not even real, and the whole thing, like, if you think of, like, Pokemon, how they level up, right? It's not like, or I guess their mentality levels up with how they, like, evolve. So that's what I kind of put on as Raphtalia, same sort of thing. But my biggest issue has to be how much they changed from the source. There's a lot of filler episodes, like going to the baths and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they also ruined her character and made her basically like I'm a cute little whatever animal she is.
Raccoon.
There's the one moment. Yeah, I think it's called like a tanuki or something. It's like a raccoon dog. They basically ruined her character by making her kind of a wimp. When she has this massive moment where she fights this king in the show, I don't know if you remember it. She's supposed to kill him, and she does kill him in the show, and it kind of redeems herself because he's a slave owner, right? And basically killed the rest of her family.
Oh, so she was supposed to kill the guy.
She was supposed to kill him, and she doesn't. And I think Nafumi or someone says,
stupid.
Yeah, they're like, if you kill them, you're gonna be just like the villain. I'm like, okay.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
That was the exact point I dropped Shield Hero, just so you know.
It was awful. So that changed. And then the only other point was I really did like the moment when they get the whole revenge part at the Capitol. That was good. There was a couple changes that made Nofumi kind of just like, I'll be nice on you, because he's a real like hard one in the manga too. But I think that part was actually when I was like, okay, this show is just dumb. Not because they got the revenge. I think the actual getting revenge was supposed to be like a big turning point. But like, I know in the anime when they did it, they like were so like, it was so tragedy. I mean, revenge porny, where they have like the crest on her chest, and like every time she lies, they just show like a close up of like her boobs jiggling, and I'm like, oh my god. And then, but then what gets me, yeah, that was just like, come on. I know this is supposed to be like, you know, revenge porn, but like we can focus on the revenge and not the porn aspect. Like, all right, I want to reveal one thing because I know we don't have like too much time per show.
Yeah.
In the web novel, I think they took this from the light novel. I was surprised to hear that it was like a woman that was the author of this, because in the web novel, there's some really messed up stuff. One point that I don't think is ever going to be adapted because it's not following the web novel is that we call her bitch, right? The main antagonist girl. Yeah. She gets sent off to some pig king. And
I heard of that.
Yeah,
I heard of this. Wait, we shouldn't talk about this because we don't know if they'll adapt it.
Yeah. Anyways, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, we should.
So I've definitely like, I don't know. I've kind of dropped the series at this point, and the whole adaptation made me realize, all right, this is kind of just another isekai. I'm a little actually really disappointed that they toned it down so much. So it feels like it was it had some, I think the best way for me, at least, to summarize it is it had a lot of interesting ideas. Like, I liked the idea of him being forced in this world that hates him, and he has to still try and save it and kind of come to terms with the fact that like society hates him, but he still has to fight for them and try and learn how to survive without having any, no gifts, no kind of advantage over anyone. And I like this section where they're traveling around and they see the other heroes like just defeating monsters and shit and like not really giving a fuck about anything, just like being cool heroes, and you see the impacts they have on society. Like the one guy who kills a dragon and he doesn't like properly, I guess, bury it or like send it off,
or
and then
the meat or something.
Yeah, and it like the corpse kind of like gives off this disease that like wipes out a town. Like those were really cool things to have. Like thinking of the repercussions of being a hero and just treating it like a game instead of a real society. Like those were cool aspects, but I think it focused too much on trying to be like, I don't want to say a harem isekai situation where like, we have the harem antics. I don't think it's fully that. I just think, I don't think it really knew how to play to its strengths. And
it fell into anime bullshit too often.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think also at the end of that, they had the revenge scene. It's funny how, they reveal that they lied about him being a rapist. They lied about that. And then the next episode, somehow, Mine or whatever her name is, the dumb girl who, like, did all that, she's just chilling around the castle poisoning his food. Like, are you kidding me?
Why is she not in prison?
Like, the show doesn't take... It's like the show didn't take that seriously. They're like, oh yeah, Mine, that's... like, silly bitch. She's just, like, chilling in the kitchen, poisoning his food after being, you know, what is it? Like, imprisoned, like, being charged with...
She was supposed to be banished, actually, and they just kept her.
Yeah, she's supposed to be banished, and she's in the kitchen poisoning him, and no one, like, has a reaction to it that seems appropriate. They're just like, silly mine being a dumbass again. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what we built up the whole show towards.
Oh, this is awful. Honestly, it's so bad because at first I was trying to defend the series because of all these bull crap, and then I started like, why am I defending this when it's such a horrible adaptation? And like, I don't really like Shield Hero overly anymore. It's kind of just like, oh, I enjoyed some moments of it, but the anime was just so terribly done. Outside of the music, thank you, Kevin Penkin. I just can't take it anymore.
It was bad. I disliked everything about it. It was probably the worst show I watched this year. I hate it. The characters are dumb, and that's pretty much it. I hate it. And just an example of how the characters are dumb. You talked about the slavery. You thought about the slavery thing, and like the king is like, wow, man, I fucking hate slavery. Yeah, man. Maybe you could do something about that. You know, you're the king.
I mean, he can't because it's the queen who has the power in the country.
Yeah, that's the one thing, the queen. But then she like shows up way later, and it's like, you know what? I agree with you, Naifumi, and we'll make a change, and then no changes are made, and there you go, done.
Yeah.
No, like
it was just like, it's just such a meme. I feel so bad because I feel like so many people were outraged over things I don't think the show is guilty for, and they were so outraged over these other aspects that they couldn't focus on the main problems, which was how poorly written it was.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like the whole the whole problematic with the slavery thing. It's like it's a mechanic of the world. You should be upset about how dumb these characters are, not about the slavery thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't get mad at the show for like perpetuating problematic ideas. Get mad at it for being a bad show.
Exactly.
Because it's not,
But to its credit, if anything, it was creative, which you can't say about a lot of other isekai light novels.
Yeah. I think it did have some interesting concepts, and I definitely appreciated that. So it was worth watching.
Yeah, and Raphtalia is good. I give you that.
Definitely the boat. Yeah, I like Raphtalia. Don't like anime Raphtalia. Like the main Raphtalia.
Her design is cute. Like, she's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on, we can go talk about many cute things in this next show. We have the only domestic girlfriend. So this was an interesting one because I know that this is like just the weirdest show ever. You know, not because of the concept. The concept we all know is main character moves in with, like, he hooks up with this girl, and he has a crush on his teacher. His parent ends up getting remarried. It turns out his teacher, who he has a crush on, and the girl he hooked up with are sisters, and they're all living together. It sounds like a reality show concept, and it kind of is. But you see, like, there's so many interesting responses to this. Half of them are like, you know, people watching it, like, ironically enjoying it because it's just so ridiculous. And then some people are, like, super genuinely into the show, like, really attached to the plot, really attached to the characters, like, you know, just like really glued to everything, like in a very serious way. Where do you guys stand?
I'm definitely on the first part. Like, don't make Kano for me. It's probably the overlord of this season because it is a show that I know has so many flaws and it has so many problematic things about it. But I have so much fun watching it. It's so much fun watching that complete train wreck. I love it. I really do. I guess it's kind of like a soap opera in anime form. And being a Latin person myself, I just adore soap opera. So when I watched this, I was like, okay, this is something my grandma would watch and would be like, yeah, that's cool. She would talk about her old lady friends with it about it, you know, because it's just such a soap opera like concept, and it kind of works, man. It's fun. It's ridiculous, sure, but it's fun. I really enjoyed Damekano. And does it have a second season out yet or no?
I don't think so.
Oh God, I hope not.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so. I really hope so. And again, it also has great voice actors, which always brings the quality of the show up for me. So yeah, I have fun with it.
I started reading the Domestic Nakanojo manga on day one, like many other
Day
manga.
one.
Day one. Like day
Tai,
one with
day one.
yes. And if you look back and go to the Arm Manga episode chapter threads, for the first 10 chapters at least, they're super positive. Like, people praise the manga to high heavens. And at some point, it just drops off. And I also lost interest. And at some point, I said, no, fuck it. I'll drop it. This has gotten too much. And then, like, years after I dropped it, the anime gets announced. And it was like, audibly, I said, why? Why this particular manga? And from you guys, I see the why, because apparently people enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
It's a train wreck, man. I just have fun watching it, you know? It's ridiculous, but it's fun.
Yeah, I could never say that Domestic Girlfriend was boring. I would never say that. And that's more than I can say for many other shows. I think I'm on the same page as you, Pat. I have fun watching it and just seeing how ridiculous it is, because I gotta give credit where credit is due. There's a lot of things that happen in Domestic Girlfriend. And, you know, there's a lot of progression in various ways, for good or worse, for better or worse, you know. Like, there's a lot of things going on. There's always, you know, is he gonna hook, like, oh, he's hooking up with the teacher, oh, he's hooking up with the girl his age, and then, like, oh, the teacher has to move because they're dumbasses and hook up in front of people. Dumbass. Like, okay. And then he has, like, a mental breakdown because the teacher moves. I think that's hysterical in its own way. Because he's, like, he just loses the teacher who he could, like, hook up with, and then she moves, and he's, like, deeply depressed. I think that's hysterical. But, you know, they have the back and forths all the time. And I like how they always try and keep things happening. And there's so many romance dramas where they have a lot of, like, the emotional angst without any of the actual, like, physical actions or any of the, you know, like, tangible conversations. You know, like, all the angst over confessing without actually confessing. And Domestic Girlfriend actually has people confessing. They just change all the time and go through a wide variety of responses all the time. It's, like, constantly firing on all phasers. I cannot keep up with it half the time. Yeah, I think it's, like, it's just kind of a riot. It's just such a riot of a show. And another one that has a great opening. That's
yes. Oh my god, this song is probably my favorite song of the year. I love that song. It's so good.
Great song.
Yeah, opening is pretty good. For me, all right, I definitely was in the boat of this is gonna be really garbage, and I've seen
Garbaggio, please.
There's the I don't know if you know of the manga, the Rental Girlfriend one.
No, but I can imagine what that's about.
All right, so it's just like I read a bit of that, and I noticed how garbage it was, because they kind of progress it where, like, oh, she likes him and he likes him, and then he goes and does something completely retarded, and it's like, okay, you just ruined this, and it just keeps being worse and worse, and just, like, kind of ass pulls and dumb stuff. But this one was oddly really damn fun, and it wasn't like, I wouldn't even have all the same criticisms as everyone, because I read so many garbage manga romances that are like, oh, I'm gonna be with you, or I like you, and then it's like a harem thing. But they kept to the two people. They introduced like two other girls, and I was worried, and then they kind of just like, no, I like these two people or this person. Like Momo was interesting because she was definitely like really alone and wasn't really sure. She's the
blonde,
the pink hair that was like cutting
pink.
herself and stuff. Definitely alone, had like some issues, and instead of like going into a relationship, he's like, no, I like someone else, I'm gonna stick with them, even if they're not together.
They treat his feelings very seriously, which is something they don't do in other series. Like he's very serious about, like, I'm into these two girls, I'm not here to just like hook up with everyone, like I'm definitely want to be like in a relationship with one of these two.
Yeah, and the whole like, they kind of just like don't give a shit that he did it with the what's her name, Rui, at the start. It's kind of like, okay, let's just forget about that, and then they basically do, and then she's slowly like liking him because she's around him all the time, and Hina's like, I can't be with you because it's like we're a teacher and stuff, we're gonna get in shit if we do, and then he's pressuring her so much that she kind of like just gives up. She's like, you know what, I want to be with you, and they commit, which is cool. And then the last episode, I knew it was gonna happen anyways, because like it's a long series, of course. I'm glad they actually like addressed it. Like, someone noticed that she was going out with this student and she's a teacher, so she had to move on. And then there was a whole thing like, oh, I can't find her because she didn't tell me this, she just left me a note, right? Which is kind of dumb. But I don't know. I'm looking at like the ratings for this, and there's a lot of people that give it like 1s and like 2s, and then
Yeah, that's
That's
a bit
fair.
extreme.
Like, I don't blame anyone for giving it a 1. You know?
Yeah,
I quite
I feel like
enjoyed
that's
it.
a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah,
extreme,
I
but I
think-
can understand it.
But yeah,
I
it
feel like you
is.
just gotta
It's
know.
typical. Like I wouldn't say typical, but it's dumb. But it handles itself so much better than the other dumb series that I can't dislike it. So
Yeah, I
That's
think
me.
it's a fun. I think it's at the very least fun, and it's like a reality show or a soap opera, as Pat puts it. It's like a good soap opera. So
yeah,
I think everyone should know what they're getting into when they watch it.
Yeah, if it went into the whole harem thing where like Momo and the other girl were actually
Yeah.
like, and he's sleeping with everyone like school days, nah, I'd give up on that. But
Yeah, that would ruin it. It like knows what it's about. That's like the best thing I can say is like it knows what it's going for, and it hits that pretty well.
Yeah, well, I'm going to become that one loser who picks up the manga and then goes through all of it and join the... my favorite character is probably Hina in it, just because of the whole, like, she
I
knows
hate
she has
Hina.
these issues.
I really
Hina's
like
the
her.
teacher,
I
right?
don't know,
I
like,
hate.
yeah,
What?
Hina's the teacher.
Yeah, okay.
I hate Hina.
I
love
just think
Rui Stan.
I like MC Come, really. I think he's good MC, man. He knows what he wants, and he goes for it.
I just hate.
I
I feel like
appreciate
Hina
it.
is just like such a dumbass. She's like supposed to be 25 and like she's like hooking up with her 17-year-old student, which I think it's in this story, but like she's sus.
Yeah, she's
and
immature as
she's
fuck.
She's like she's a
That's
mess.
true.
She's
I
she's
agree
an
there.
absolute mess. She's hooking up with a married man, then she's hooking up with a 17-year-old student, and like her way, and she hooks up with him in view of like other students. So like she's not even like smart about it. She's just a dumbass.
You see, but that's the thing, because the main character is basically the same as that, and it kind of like
But he's 17, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I know, she's like, she's definitely older, but she kind of acts how I expected her to, and...
Like a dumbass?
That's, yeah, I mean, everyone in this is kind of a dumbass. Like, Rui doesn't really do anything either, and which is why I probably prefer Hina. I haven't read the manga, I know there's a lot more that goes on there, but I don't know, Rui was kind of like this quiet one who I thought was going to have like some interesting characters, but as soon as they get together as like brother and sister, or they become a family, I mean, she kind of just mellows out and doesn't really do much, and she's like always waiting, like, oh, I'm going to keep to myself and like I don't want to be in a relationship or whatever. And then Hina just is like, you know what? Screw it. I was waiting and was going to let you do something, but I want to feel how I feel and like do what I want. So she goes together with him. So I don't know. I liked it. A lot more depth to her, even if she's the dumbass.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I guess we got to move on because we got to talk about something that actually does go the harem route because it's a harem and it was from the start. So we're talking about Gotobun. I forget what the...
Finally.
Quintessential quintuplets or whatever.
Yeah. So let's go, Tai. You're Tai Day 1 boss. Let's go.
So, yeah. Day 1... Well, not quite day 1. I read the first chapter, was like, yeah, great. And then I put it on hold, and I picked it up again when it had 27 chapters scanlated. So I'm not that day 1 with the... But yeah, I liked it from the get-go. I generally like harem shows. It's just that many harem shows, like many isekai, are so uncreative and are just... Oh, here's this girl. Oh, there's this girl. Now there's this girl. Now there's this girl. And yeah. It's just... Like, I like that they introduced all 5 girls from the get-go. And they also say, yeah, he's going to marry one of them, but we're not going to tell you which one. And that adds this great mystery element where we have to have, like, see the scene and we're like, oh, does it mean she's the bride? Does that mean she's the bride? Oh, she could be the bride. Oh, that's her arc. No, that's her arc. And it's great at being a balanced harem because every girl, like, has her arc. I'm a bit biased because I'm up to date. The anime has not yet adapted every arc, but like everyone gets their turn. Yeah. And I love how it has this very through continuity. Like there's a chronology of things happening, while in other harems, like in Weekend Study that came out the next season, it's basically semi-episodic, where it's like you could watch one episode on its own and it would not really have made much difference. It's like you can't tell how much time passes between one chapter and another. It could be anywhere from 1 to 10 days. Well, in Gotobun no Hanayume, you just know, yeah, this has to take place this and then and all of that. And that alone already makes it very creative. All of the girls are very, very likable for me, and very understandable and cute. Yeah, they are cute as hell. And the main character is fun and like. It's hard for me to talk about why I love this show because it's such an emotional feeling, and I can't really grasp it in words. It's just I love this show. I love the manga. I'm glad that it got so popular that we can mention it in the full round and not some short. Oh, what do you want to shill?
Yeah. It's cool because it also got a season 2 announcement, so it's doing very well. I think it's also kind of refreshing. I've never called something a wholesome harem, but it feels kind of wholesome. I don't know if that
it has little fan service. It has some, but it has very little fan service. It's not a fan service show.
It's more so, I feel like it's more so run on emotions or interactions than, fan service moments. Like, I don't think that really drives the series, which feels kind of refreshing. I think it also doesn't feel as trashy as you'd imagine a main character and then 5 sisters. Like, it doesn't feel like as trashy as Domestic Girlfriend, which is kind of funny to think about. But, yeah, it was a really fun watch. I haven't read the manga, but I think they did a pretty good job with the anime, even if it had some oof quality moments. It was a fun watch. The opening for me, it's not my favorite opening of the year, but the opening is just so catchy and fun with, all of the girls saying, like
his name?
Yeah, saying his name. It's just so funny and, cute. It's just so fun and cute. I think that's how I describe the show. I do find, I like all of the girls, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins, and I'm excited to see that in season 2. So that should be fun.
I'm going completely opposite. It's probably my least favorite show that came out this season.
You're making me cry.
I'm also dumb because I'm current with the manga too, and I don't like it. I don't know why I'm still reading it. I find there's an issue with it in the sense that every time it tries to progress, it loops itself and just goes back to, the first spot, because the whole thing about it is that all the girls look the same, right? And they like to fool around and change their appearance and stuff to fool with the main character. And now a lot more of that happens. I think they started doing that near the end, or even at the beginning of the show with when he's trying to chase after Miku and stuff like that. It just wasn't working for me. It's really annoying because it's stagnant the entire time, it feels like. And there was a bit of progression at the start because they're finally opening up to him as the tutor. But then they kind of just completely forget about that whole thing, and it turns into, oh, this is your usual. It's kind of like We Never Study, like you said, where they don't really actually ever study. They just do other dumb stuff all the time. I didn't find any of the main characters all that enjoyable. They kind of were here's a cute moment with them blushing or pouting, and then that was all that came from them.
Even trying to pick a favorite character, I'd probably just go with Itsuki because she's kind of nice and.
Oh, she's the worst, man! What the fuck?
That's what I mean.
Nino drugging the main character and sending away. That's not cool with me. Miku is just a snooze burger.
No,
Ichika's
you're a snooze burger.
Ichika's kind of a bitch, not gonna lie. Did not like her at all.
Itsuki's just a fat ass then, with that logic.
Yeah, she is actually just fat ass. That's what I mean, though.
Wait, who's a bitch?
I wouldn't put any of these. Ichika.
Ichika is the best one. What the fuck, man? Oh my god, Ichika's great, man.
I think we can make a whole podcast just a waifu war about this show.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's not do one.
You know what?
Yeah, let's not do that here.
The best character was the sister. I'm just going to go with that. His sister, not any of the quintuplets. The other thing was the show started looking... Okay, it already looked bad in my opinion. It started looking really bad halfway through. I ended up going with the Blu-rays, trying to fix it, and it still didn't look that great. So it just was not working for me. I've never really liked the series. I probably should drop it, honestly.
Probably.
But it seems like one of those ones that pops up because it's so popular all the time, so I feel like I'm obligated to follow it.
I know what you mean, though. I mean, I think it's I know what you mean. I think it's a hit or miss kind of thing, because you're either buy into the concept or you're not fully in. It depends. Yeah. But I think it was a fun watch, but it's probably better to read the manga. But I enjoy watching it even with the production issues.
I'll be fair. It definitely hits the mark for a decent harem show for people that are looking for that. Just doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah, it was like fine for me. I thought it was okay, just okay. The production really held it back, I thought. One thing I still don't understand why they did it is why did they give different hair colors for the girls?
Yeah.
Like I think it would be so much more interesting if they had the same hair color. It would make like the gags funnier. I really don't understand. But the one aspect of production that I did enjoy and probably was my favorite aspect of the show, and it was the voice acting once again. Great cast of voice acting. Great cast. All the girls, Hanakana, Ayane Taketatsu, like just a great cast all around. And I thought they did a very good job.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. And I do like the main character as a harem MC. I think he's pretty interesting as they go. Pretty interesting. He was good and great voice acting, as you said. So we have a lot to look forward to in season 2 for whoever ends up watching it. So
Me.
Yeah, I was gonna say me and Ty, but I think it was fun, and it was some cool diversity for the season. So we have some other shows that might not have been as popular, but I think we wanted to just give them a brief spotlight, just to say like we watched these and they were pretty cool. So I think the first one is My Roommate is a Cat. So you guys already know what that's about. The roommate turns into a cat. Who felt strongly about this one?
I'm still going through it. Did anyone else actually watch it?
I did not watch it.
Okay, well then I'll quickly go through it. It's one of those. It's kind of like it's the good happy version of Natsume. If you've seen that,
the good feels.
So yeah, there's just like guy is in his lowest. He's trying to be a writer, but his parents passed away. Right, he's like the lone guy out living on his own.
Yeah.
And he picks up the stray cat. And what's cool is that it's kind of like a 2-part episode where the first part is him doing his daily day and the cat being annoying and stuff, or like him starting to like the cat. And then the second half is from the cat's perspective. So it's like, that she can't understand the humans. So it's silly, her like knocking over the food, and like her name is Haru, which she relates to food. So whenever he calls like Haru, which is what he names it, she thinks, oh, it's food time. And the voice acting for the cat is hilarious. It's wonderful, but it's very, very cute, very loving. All the characters are nice. There's no dumb drama in it or anything. It's just very, very wholesome. So I've been really enjoying it. I definitely think it's a show that should be checked out if you're looking for that kind of thing.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. That's a good one. It's good to have a nice feel good show, I think. I remember the cat getting picked for like high up there on like girl of the season, so I'm sure that she's a pretty interesting character.
It blew me away how freaking cute it was. Like, I don't really like cats either. And I was like, holy crap, this is a good cat.
That's impressive. So I guess if people think that sounds interesting, they should go check it out. We also have Endro, which I remember hearing a decent about, but a decent amount of, I cannot say it. I heard about that, but I never got to see it. Did one of you guys get to see it?
No, I saw it.
I saw it too.
Okay, this was one of the most fun shows this season, easily. It was so goofy. The designs are so cute, and all the characters are like. The villain of the series is like the Demon Lord, and then it kind of just like the plot is that it goes back in time to when the hero of the story, the main girl of the cast, she's just starting school. So the Demon Lord is now like this little teacher, and she kind of like realizes that it's just going to keep looping and she's going to keep getting killed and they're going to screw up and then go back in time. So she gives up on being the Demon Lord and just teaches them. So they go on little adventures and stuff, but animation's really solid. Music's good. It's just like a very enjoyable show, which is weird because I usually don't watch these shows. They're kind of just like cute girls doing cute things. But it hit the spot well.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It was cute for sure. It got a little bit repetitive for me after a few episodes, but overall it's fun. If you're looking for a cute girls doing cute things, it's definitely worth the watch.
Nice. That's good to have. No, I think it was pretty like. I don't think we had too many like cute girl shows this season, so I think if people are interested in that, they can get their fix with that. And I heard good things about it, so worth checking out.
There's a bit of like Yuri vibes going around. Like the teacher has someone that likes them. the princess
cute.
is expecting a hero and then finds out it's a girl, and she's like, you know what, that's okay. Stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
You know what? I'll take it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I know this one. I think it was also a cute girl show, but with like a bit more of a, I don't want to say edge to it, but like a bit more of a serious, like action theme to it. That's Kotobuki. I think Ty, this was something you checked out.
Yeah, so basically it's cute girls flying World War II planes in Arizona by the director of Girls in Panzer and Shirobako.
Nice.
And don't watch it for the plot or for the characters. They're okay, but watch it for the plane scenes. The plane scenes are so good. They even like storyboarded some episodes as if like the camera is stuck on a part of the plane and the plane is static and the background moves as the plane flies, and it just works. It looks so good. So yeah, just watch it for the action scenes. You can ignore the talking scenes, basically. To be honest,
I watched the first episode and then didn't keep up with it, but I watched, there was a bunch of clips of pretty much every plane sequence that was there. Holy crap, are those some amazing dogfights. The Foley, like, from the planes itself, like, you hear, like, the rumbling of the wings and the metal parts and everything. Oh, super good. But otherwise, it's kind of just like, cute girls doing random stuff. So definitely watch it if you're into the whole, like, World War II, like, you want to see some awesome dogfights.
Nice. Okay, that sounds cool. It did feel like a Girls in Panzer vibe, so I was thinking of Bacon with that. So I guess the next one we have is Boogiepop, which was kind of highly anticipated, but wasn't as exciting or as interesting as we had hoped it would be. Well, I should rephrase that. I think it was an interesting show, but it wasn't executed as well as it could have been, especially the high standards people had from the light novel or the early 2000 series was a bit more interesting in its presentation. I feel like it was a interesting mixed bag of cool concepts, but it could have been a bit more polished. It could have looked a bit more interesting, and overall, I kind of expected more, but I enjoyed the concepts that they did explore. I enjoy like the Boogiepop setting and how it explores kind of like teenagers going through these like supernatural elements, and I think some moments did hit really hard. So I'd say if you're interested in it, check it out, but I don't know if it will be the best of the season for you if you do check it out. But it just
remember you have to. You go first.
Okay, I saw one episode and it was kind of like, I think they kind of went weird with the order. It's kind of messed up. If you keep watching it,
you have to actually pay attention to the show, especially in the first 3 episodes that are time shifted around. The rest is straightforward chronologically, roughly. But yeah, you still have to pay close attention to what they say because the exposition is pretty mundanely done. It's just pure narration or just pure dialogue and not some big revelation with big music and the stuff.
Yeah.
the
It's definitely a show with the details.
On is I'm not a big Myth and Roid fan outside of like the Re:Zero stuff they do, but Boogiepop is probably in my top 3.
Yeah, Shadowgraph is a good song.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Good song.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
And I really like the soundtrack too. We got the am I blanking on his name? It's Kenshi Ono? I think that's his name.
Kenshi Ono, from
Kenshi Uno,
A Silent Voice, I think.
Yeah, he did the Ping Pong, the animation soundtrack, and a Silent Voice soundtrack. So he's great, and he does a great job with making the atmosphere feel very unsettling with the interesting, clip tones that he used. So that was really good, and also great voice acting. So
Aoi Yuki was great. She was great. Really different character. Like the tone of voice that she did, it's a really out of her comfort zone, I guess.
Yeah, it was interesting too. She does such a great job as both characters, even though we mostly just hear her as Boogiepop. So I feel like it's worth checking out if you're interested, but don't expect a masterpiece, Yeah. So we also just have 2 more shows we want to touch on because they were carryovers from last year into this year.
Can I do a really, really quick, like 10 seconds show of my own?
Yeah.
Yeah, Data Live Season 3. If you enjoy stupid Heron that is really, really stupid but has like cute girls and good voice actors, just check out Data Live. We just got announced the spin-off, which is kind of like a Season 4, so great time to get into data life. And shout out to my man Target, who is like the only other person besides me who enjoys data life.
Nice.
I enjoyed season 2 a lot. Season 2 was and then season 2 suddenly got really, really good, and was like, what the hell happened? Season 2, not so much.
I liked the first 3 episodes of the first season, and then it just plummeted completely, and it got way too away from what I thought it was going to be. So I don't know if I'll continue, but I can see it working for people. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so thanks for that. I'm not going to check it out, but
yeah, you shouldn't.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah,
I should. I'll do it.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
Okay.
I don't think you enjoy it at all.
It doesn't really look all that great anymore.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I have heard a lot about the one character with like the you guys know the one.
Clock
the one
eyes.
character. Yeah, the one with the clocks on her eyes. She has a cool
Oh,
design.
Kurumi. Yeah, she's the one who's getting the solo series for her, the
And
spin-off.
she probably should. So
Yeah.
that sounds interesting.
She's by far the most interesting character in the show.
Oh, nice. So that's cool to hear. So I guess we have 2 shows that we wanted to talk about briefly because they carried over from the previous year and they were both of note. The first one is Run with the Wind, which is probably one of the more underwatched sports series of the past couple years. I thought it was a really good series. It's kind of like Haikyuu vibes, but in college with college characters with with their kind of drama, but coming to love running as a sport and coming together as a team. It was very interesting. They had a lot of good characters in the cast, very relatable. They have one character who just constantly dies every time he tries to run. He just looks like absolutely aghast. Like, yeah. Like kind of like Mob, but yeah, that's like kind of got that vibe. And that's, me IRL running. So I feel they did a great job of handling people who like really love running and people who hate running, but then they all come together and do it and enjoy it, but in various different ways. So that's definitely worth watching. Good production. It's essentially by the Haikyuu team. So you can do like Haikyuu. The best way I can describe it is kind of like Haikyuu quality stuff in college focused around running. And I'd say it's a bit more grounded in its drama than in high school because they're college characters.
You just made me interested into the show.
Yeah, same. Same,
Yay.
actually.
Oh, cool.
Stellar on it.
Yeah, it's really worth checking out. I think it's a fun show because you do get a cool college setting, and I feel the motives of the characters and their personalities are very different and there's like a huge variety of them. So it's definitely worth checking out if you're interested.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. Gotcha. And of course, we're finishing off on the highest note, which is Sword Art Online Alicization. I watched the first half of this and I didn't finish the second half, but I've seen a lot of previews for this part 2. I don't want to call it season 2, but I think it's
season 2, part 1.
Is it season 2, part 1? I've seen, that's where we're at. We got like the Attack on Titan types of seasons.
Yeah.
Like season 2, part 5. But yeah, so they got. So I didn't really catch up on this, but I think a lot of interesting things went down because what I'm seeing in the previews look very interesting. So I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I don't know many people that still like SAO. A lot of people seem to think of it as like the worst thing ever, which I don't agree with at all. So definitely the best season of SAO in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The biggest issues that I'll say about it is that they kind of go towards this. They give characters their own monologues or kind of like internal thoughts. So Kirito has a lot more going on for him, and he's actually like I give a shit about him now. Yujiro is an awesome inclusion as like a side character because it's a guy this time. There's some low points in it that you may or may not like. The first arc is really good. The second arc is fantastic, and the finale was like blew my mind when I first saw it. I know there's a lot of memes about parts that happen in the finale, but I think the biggest issue is that because they adapted so like to the note at times, there were stretches of episodes there was a lot of talking and exposition, and it was really boring. So I brought my score down a lot.
Yeah, there was like the
first
Asuka
episode
scenes.
is kind of that.
Well, they have like a lot of Asuka moments where it's just like Asuka talking to these guys, and you're like, okay, this is fine, but I'm bored. Like, please move on.
Yeah. When they're in the game, it's interesting. When they're talking about the whole facility around the show, it kind of gets boring because it's just like here's some scientific stuff. It's kind of like Bunny Girl, but like less bullshit, I guess.
There's more purpose to it than like they have a lot. They need to say it, like they need to communicate it, but they didn't find a great way of doing it.
It's interesting because I know there's a lot of people that watch this and said they don't care about anyone, but it kind of has the same sort of stakes as the first part where everyone's trapped in like a game. This time it's a simulation, and it's kind of like everyone that is in it is an NPC, but they're actually born from actual like babies or like humans.
This is getting really like meme society. Like we're living in a simulation.
Yeah, it's
we live
a
in
simulation
a society.
of it, right? Yeah, it's weird,
Yeah.
but it's cool, especially following through with the second season that's coming out. They do some interesting things with the whole like, you know, everyone's an AI, but are AIs just robots or are they actually like, can they be human? That sort of stuff. And much better looking show than the previous ones. They took Ordinal Skill's appearance and threw that on. So fights look fantastic, especially the Blu-rays. They really fixed a lot of minor issues that were there. So yeah, if you like SAO, give it a go. And if you had some problems with the first parts of SAO, and you're like, you know what, maybe I should give it a go, I'd say it improves tenfold. So yeah,
Nice.
That's mine.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna catch up to it because I'm actually pretty interested to see what's going on. So I think it's cool to see SAO continuing on and going strong with, I guess, what everyone considers to be the best part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I think that's all we have for the season. I think we discussed everything to death. We discussed a lot of topics and we discussed them in details. Did you guys have anything you wanted to say before we sign off?
Not really. For me.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess, like...
High Score Girl, the OVA, came out, which is like the continuation.
That was great.
So definitely check that out. If you liked High Score Girl, definitely like that show.
Yeah, season 2 hype.
We have the new season coming out like very shortly, too.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, do check out High Score Girl, please. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's also the OVAs for Golden Kamuy, so if you love Golden Kamuy, check out those because they're hilarious.
Nice. Nice. Well, we got a lot going on, so thank you everyone for tuning in to Winter, and we will see you next time. Thank you guys for joining me, Theleux, Ty, and Pat. You guys were great.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Great. So until next time, here is spring 2019.
The sun's come out to play. Big wing in spring, hooray, hooray. We love our springtime day. Sunrise lighting up my room, all the flowers are in bloom. Breathing in the smell of spring, run around the park and sing. Big wing and spring sing.
What is up, everybody? It's the spring section of 2019 review, and I'm hosting it again for a third time. I don't know, actually. Yeah, it's third time I'm doing these things. With me today, I've got like the all-star cast. Honestly, it's kind of the best crew out of every section, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
With me, I've got my good friend Minus returning.
Hello. I'm actually sitting in a call with a whole bunch of King normies, since I don't think anybody watched Ouchan this season besides me.
Is that the Fox Girl anime?
No, this was the Apple Orgy.
Oh, Ouchan.
Yeah, and it was like actually unironically one of the better shows, but
see, I have taste.
Oh
damn!
So
ouch.
Sorry.
Ouch.
I didn't realize.
So I thought Minus was going to call us kings at first, and I was like, "Damn, that's really nice of him to call me a king." And then he calls me King Norm, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a backhanded compliment."
Also, what are you doing watching that show?
Yeah, Minus.
Well,
I mean, Minus is also playing porn games, so like, you know, what do you expect? Like,
see, I sorry, I'll let introductions finish, and then I'll give Minus shit.
Oh no, it's I. Also returning, we have Chrispy, the crispiest of 294s.
Woo! Third year in a row.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty great the other
that doesn't even work in this context.
No, because I'm always pretty great. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. The drip. I think.
And I'm the type of gay guy who does not torture himself with stuff like Ouchan. So.
Ooh.
A little bit of bad blood.
That's a slay right there.
I liked Aochan.
That's some shade. God.
I have not seen Aochan, so I actually have nothing against it. I
All
just
I know
wanted
is
to give mine
the
a
OP's
shit.
a banger.
Yeah, the OP is
a banger.
Goes hard.
All right, and we for like someone who I've wanted to have on a podcast for a while. I mean, he's been on podcasts, but I've never been on a podcast with him. We've got Nosreme.
Hello,
How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right in the middle of finals, but we chill.
Oh no! Oh jeez.
No, it's okay. My next one isn't until Thursday, so
sweet.
You have time.
Yeah, we chillin'.
All right, so we're gonna talk about not every spring show, but we're gonna talk about a shit ton of spring shows. Let's start with the most popular one, which is I want to say Attack on Titan season 3.5.
Yep. That's a weird way to say that, but yeah, that's probably...
Is it 3.2?
It's 3 part 2, yeah.
Oh, okay, the second half of season 3. That's...
Well, it's actually 10 out of, 22, but whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this. I'm pretty sure we all liked this season, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did we all like this more than the first half of season 3 or less?
Yes,
I liked it more,
my favorite part.
I think I'm
franchise.
the weird one who liked this just a little bit less than the first half. To be honest, I really like season 3 as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Season 3 is definitely the best.
Yeah, by far.
For me.
I don't know, until the big reveals at the end of this part, I just didn't think it was quite as great plot wise. That's what I really liked about part 1. I mean, not to be unfair to the first half of part 2, which just had some fucking awesome action. And then had the big reveals that kind of added more not just the big reveals, but the big dilemma episode too.
Yeah.
Which added more actual writing, character writing and plot development into the mix. So this is definitely my most considered rating right now. The one that I constantly go back to this year and I'm like, should I bump it up a little? Because for context, I have part 1 as an 8 and this is a 7, which just for reference, I can be quite harsh, and a 7 is nothing to sneeze at, to be fair. But yeah, I'm kind of should I bump it up? That last part was really good. The whole thing was really good. I don't know. So that's
I think I'm also one of those people that prefer the first part of season 3 over the second part, even though episode 5 of the second part is one of my favorite episodes of the entire year, period.
Was that the big dilemma, or was that the one before it?
Well, it's where a bunch of the shit goes down, essentially. It does have that big dilemma between Armin and Irvin.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay. Because we can say, I was going to say we can say spoilers, right? Yeah. Was that one?
No, this is gonna have spoilers.
Was that when Armin gets blown up, or is that the episode after when
he gets super crispy?
Okay.
No,
like me. I really felt for him.
And then
in
we
that
all
moment.
and then we all think that Hanji's dead, and then she comes back, and you're just fuck, dude, kind of thing, right?
Is that a direct quote from
I legit lost my shit when Hanji came back. I was like, no, there's no way, dude. And then she does, and I'm like, oh fuck. I had a great time with that episode. I gotta say, I kind of prefer part 1 of season 3, if only for all the information that was given was super engrossing for me personally. But I will say the action in part 2 was super duper dope, essentially.
I liked part 1 because Historia, in particular, was really well developed and had a great arc. So, bitch fucked some shit up.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in general,
also, we got to the basement.
Hell yeah! I think in general, the most interesting parts of the series for me are always just learning about shit. And learning about the world and then the lore, and that was most prevalent in season 1, and then the second half of part 1 of season 3, Jesus, and then the second half of that part 2. So,
dude, the whole reveal at the end was the entire world we've known in Attack on Titan is basically if Israel was founded like it is in our world, but as a prison state.
Pretty much.
Do we want to talk about the controversy about part 2?
So,
because there was
to give credit where credit is due. They do talk about manga stuff after what happens in part 2. So, like, whereas, like, I don't agree with the controversy right now because as of part 2, it's like, what do you mean it supports fascism? That doesn't make sense. Apparently stuff comes up later that I obviously can't talk about, but so far it just kind of seems like they misunderstood what was happening.
I never actually read the article, but I saw people dunking on it on Twitter, and I was like, not really sure, because I didn't watch season 3 part 2 when it was airing. I watched it like a couple days ago, and I didn't, and I kind of forgot about that whole controversy. And then once like the episode with the flashback with the kid that wears a little armband that looked like kind of like one of those like Star of David armbands back in like Nazi Germany, I was like, oh, is this where the fascist part comes in? I'm like, oh, okay, cool beans. And then it kind of just, the fascist thing didn't really like happen the way I was expecting it to.
It very much was
I thought the show was going to be making a case for fascism, and I'm like, it doesn't, not really, to be honest. And I'm like, cool. That was a non-controversy, to be honest. But
yeah, from what I remember hearing, it was that chapter of the manga that was adapted into that episode with the armbands that first sparked it. And people were like, a couple chapters later, people are like, okay, shut up, you misunderstood it. It's anti-fascist. And then it was later chapters about what the characters do after this time jump that ended the season that apparently also like makes it seem fascist. I obviously didn't read too much of that part because I didn't want to spoil myself. So I'm waiting to see what actually happens there to see if I agree. But like I said, so far from what we've seen, I'm just kind of confused as well. Like, it definitely seems like super anti-fascist. Like, your heroes are literally the Jews being in prison trying to break out.
I thought there was more like fashy stuff in like part 1 of season 3 with like all the bloodline shit with like Historia and all that.
And then they rejected it.
That felt nationalistic as fuck, and it felt like a little fashy to me. That felt way more fashy than like all the shit that happened in part 2 of season 3, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but like,
and then she specifically rejects it.
Yes, and she's like, no, fuck this. This is stupid.
Hell yeah.
Whatever.
If anything, though, I have to applaud the continuity in this season in particular. I think it gave me a newfound appreciation for a lot of the stuff that happened in the first season that you kind of just batted an eye to. And even the second half of it, I thought, compared to the first half, obviously it dragged a little bit, but it was still pretty good. It answered a lot of questions, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this whole thing ends later next year.
Yeah. Can I just speak about the opening for a second and how disappointed I was in comparison to the part? Dude, the part 1 opening was so dope, dude. It was like it was pretty much like a Lark NCL opening, but with like different instrumentation, because it's basically just the lead singer of that band with like another band, and it's like, oh, this is great. It was a great change of pace from like all the Link to Horizon OPs. Yeah,
it was. Hyde is the producer who also did Darling in the Franxx' opening song, which, as much as I don't like that show, really good song.
Yeah.
And then we get to like part 2's opening. I was like, they're like, yeah, this show was like, hey, we saw all the people bitching about no Link to Horizon OP. Let's give them a Link to Horizon OP.
Let's give them every Link to Horizon OP in one.
It's just the most mid thing, and I'm like, they're like, this is what you wanted, right? I'm like, no,
it was
no,
the most
not really.
Soggy Link to Horizon song ever.
Yeah, it's like neat in theory notice, like, that it references all of them, but as an actual song, it's like
it's
it's so boring.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I was good. I was gonna say, did anyone else notice the weird rainbow blotches in the opening?
Yeah,
they were like really random. I was like, this doesn't fit the show at all.
No, those looked terrible. I was just like, burn my eyes out, please. Why did you just slap that on there?
But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. It was a cool season. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was like, these were like this is the part of Attack on Titan that I'm like, I really feel like semi-strongly about. I was like, this is like the Attack on Titan I wish it was like in the beginning or something. But I like that everything, pretty much the first 2 seasons build up to all of this stuff happening, which was cool in retrospect, but actually watching seasons 1 through 2.
As someone who like lambasted season 2 of Attack on Titan 2 years ago when I was on this, I am very happy I kept going with it because season 3 has been really, really good. I definitely am not a fan of the first 2 seasons, but I agree that like I can at least appreciate the progression of things building up to this season. And as much as I like season 3 more than the others, I can appreciate that it wouldn't be as good without those first 2 seasons, warts and all.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't have much else to say
so-
about it other than I thought were you going to say something, Minus?
I was gonna say the continuity in it is pretty like insane. Plus, who knew that the key to the basement was Levi's foot all along?
Yeah, honest. Can we talk? I gotta say, season 3 made me appreciate Levi like a lot.
Yes.
Like I already thought Levi was pretty cool, but dude, he's like, you know, this word has kind of been like overused a lot in the past like 10 years, but I think he's a pretty legendary guy. He's legendary.
I think
boy.
so.
I like him.
Legend, wait for it, dairy.
I could go for some milk. I like milk.
It was interesting. It was also like an interesting thing for me because, so, like, full disclosure, I don't really care that much about spoilers. So, like, when the actual chapter for like what was in the basement came out, I was just like, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and read that. It was like the same thing when that one Shokugeki chapter came out that everybody flipped out about. But like,
wait, which chapter?
That chapter.
No,
it's the really.
I legit
like,
just don't know.
No, for Shokugeki, right? It's the really, really bad
yeah,
chapter.
it's the one where like basically the whole goal of the series is like undermined by the most random out of their bullshit ever. But
sweet.
Yeah,
you're talking about Azami?
No, it has to do with Soma's dad. I can tell you after. But,
okay. Yeah, let's talk because I'm just an anime only.
Did they adapt that in the final season yet?
I think it's coming. But
that sounds so funny.
Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so actually, like, knowing what was in the basement, I knew nothing about, like, pretty much everything else in that arc, so actually finally getting to see how it led into it was also super interesting, and it definitely paid off.
Mm-hmm. Man, what was I going to say? Fuck, I was going to say something about season 3. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Oh, I was going to ask, who do you think should have gotten the Titans, not semen, what was it?
The serum.
The shot of Titan juice, if you will.
The serum.
The serum. That, you know, it sounds like semen. It sounds a little bit like semen. Let's be honest, guys. Come on.
Oh, man.
Do you think Armin should have got it, or Erwin?
Narratively, I think Arwen getting it was the right call.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty heavily, you know, the way that they wrote this entire battle, it was pretty heavily implied that Armin was, you know, developing into the leader type, whereas Erwin was closing off his arc as a character.
Yep.
So
with his final charge and everything.
From a narrative perspective, as like tense as that episode was, as much as it like had me on the edge of my seat, at the end of the day, it was still kind of like, well, no shit, of course they're going to give it to Armin. Like, that's what the writing has been leading up to. From, like...
Also, they can see the beach. Like,
yeah, he needs
Armin
to
can
see
finally
the beach.
see the beach.
He needs to see the beach. But from a diegetic, like, if I was in that world with them, like, trying to make a decision for, like, in real life seas or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Give it to the commander dude.
Yeah. I feel that. I don't totally disagree with giving it to Armin, though, but I can see both sides of... Because I think, like, Aaron said that, like, most of what we figured out about, like, everything involving Titans was pretty much Armin's doing, but Erwin was just obviously a more, like, battle-ready leader, but I guess Armin kind of bloomed into that with him and Aaron taking down the Colossal Titans, so...
Yeah,
they kind of twisted
huge achievement.
They twisted it being like Armin is for the future.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, long-term goal, Armin is probably better, and then if we need shit right now, Erwin, but obviously they didn't need it with everything, like, ruined, so...
Yeah.
I need salvation, and I need it now. Call J.G. Wentworth.
All right, I think we said everything we wanted to say about Attack on Titan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, good shit.
Sweet. All right, let's move on to the show I didn't watch, which was Kimetsu no Yaiba Core 1. All right, I know Nos is a big stan of this show.
Yeah, you never guess it because I just don't talk about it anymore.
You love to see it, though.
I mean, I read a lot. I like to read a lot of things that are like gonna get like anime soon that are like pretty popular, which is usually just like Shonen Jump stuff, but other stuff too. But like Kimetsu is probably the best like adaptation for something I've read since like, or outside of like JoJo. So I was very happy with it.
How do I say this without stepping on a huge mine?
I don't care. Like being on Twitter, you see like every single opinion for it, and it's kind of like Hero Academia now because I read that too.
It really is like the next Hero Macadamia.
Hero Macadamia. Oh, why don't we just call it Macadamia? No.
Yeah.
No, but I think I've seen like so many takes on Demon Slayer that it's like reminds me of My Hero Academia so much, and that one, I went to an anime convention lately, and like half of the cosplays were just Demon Slayer cosplays at this point. Like, like over half of it was, and it was like a couple thousand people there. But like, it's like one of those shows where like I constantly see it on anime Twitter all the time. I constantly see people just discuss it all the time. I think it was like the third most popular show of the year, I want to say. I think actually maybe it was the second one, but like it's behind like Shield Hero and I think Attack on Titan, yeah. But it seems like it's just like one of those shows that just got really, 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 really big for some reason. I'm guessing it's a quality show. I'm hoping it is.
I would say it's a mixture of some pretty darn good writing. Now, I'm not someone who's like crazy about it, but I did like it. Good writing mixed with really good production values from Ufotable, who for once didn't overdo it and actually just used digital effects and stuff well and had good animation. That like it's a really good looking show.
Yeah.
And it just had a little bit of that kind of dark edginess that seems to do really well in the community. And I know that word edgy gets thrown around as like a super negative thing, and I use it in that way too when talking about certain things. But in this case, I don't mean it in a negative way, because you can have dark, edgy stuff that's not immature bullshit.
It's like edgy in a more like, I don't want to say atmospheric way because that sounds pretentious, but it's not like the like grim dark murder everything kind of.
It's not overindulgent in it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I wish we were talking about Core 2 because I did like that better, but Core 1 was definitely one that as I was watching I was like, this is like I like parts. I hate Zenitsu. He got better, but and then after watching like Core 2 and going back to Core 1 a little bit to show my brother who was home for the holidays, and he loves it so far. He's watched the first 3 episodes.
Nice.
I can kind of have a better appreciation, because I know where it goes. And I think it really is just a really solid, supernatural, historical action-adventure story that, you know, has enough familiar that people really like while also bringing in some really cool new things that you really don't see in a lot of anime. At least in terms of just like, I guess I should clarify, because I'm not saying it's like a revolutionary anime or something, but
it's still very much a battle shonen at the end of the day.
Yeah, but it has some cool aesthetics and ideas and world building.
The character design specifically, talking about aesthetics.
I was hoping someone would bring up the character designs. I love the character designs in this anime. Like, they're so cool. I don't know what to say.
Those kimonos are dope as fuck with the simple shape patterns.
Super duper nice.
I really like their eyes too.
Yeah.
They have really
their eyes
pretty
are really nice, yeah. And their hair is great. Oh, I love how their hair, like, some of their hair goes well with their kimonos. It's great.
Yeah.
I love this.
Well, and
and the fan art for the show is super dope.
They're really detailed in the drawings.
Yep.
But they're still, it doesn't restrict the animation because the staff really handled it well and were able to, you know, animate through that. So that was really I really appreciated that, because, you know, a lot of the times with certain shows, including possibly one we're going to talk about here, I won't make that claim yet, but sometimes you see shows that have like really detailed, oh no, we're not talking about Dr. Stone, that's next next season. You see a lot of like detail in the character designs, but then it just like is barely animated at all.
Oh yeah, no, Dr. Stone looks like ass. Like
yeah,
straight up.
That's bad.
I've said this on Twitter. It's like every time I see screenshots of Dr. Stone on Twitter, I'm just like, wow, this show looks awful. Oh my gosh. But every time I see screenshots of like Demon Slayer, I'm like, well, this looks like a fun show. I want to watch this.
This is AMV material.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You joke, but my brother, who I showed the show, is a parkour athlete, and he also shoots and edits his group's videos, and he has spliced parts of the first episode of Demon Slayer into some of his videos already.
Oh my god. Oh, I gotta say, the reaction faces in Demon Slayer look kind of cute too.
Yeah.
Potato!
Yes. Yeah, they go like super potato in the manga, and I'm very happy that they pretty much brought that exact same look. Like, even if they like refined like the base designs in the anime, they still go like full on potato for the reaction faces.
I think our friend Tactician Jack still has the uber potato face from the show as her Twitter profile picture, and I love it every time I see it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I know some people might not enjoy that as much. Or I've heard that like some people just find them ugly, but for me they're just like super dank. But I guess it's the same kind of thing as like the chibi comedy in Full Metal Alchemist, but
see, that's what I was going to mention, because like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was like the anime that turned me into like an uber weeb from like a casual viewer. So I'm all for crazy, kooky, stupid reaction faces and stuff.
Yeah.
I eat that shit up.
Same.
I have not. Wait, minus. Did you have anything else to say about the show?
Well, I've been keeping quiet, so I don't want to get flamed too bad.
Ooh, is Minus going to slay the show?
No,
yes,
no, not really.
Slay.
Demon Slayer.
So, okay, I'm just gonna fuck it at this point.
Just gonna fuck it?
I'm just gonna dig my own grave. I'm gonna dig my own grave. I'm gonna dig my own grave. So, Demon Slayer looks nice. I will not argue with that.
However,
I think...
Oh, no.
Okay. So... I think my biggest issue with the first half of Demon Slayer, we're not talking. If the second half, everything that I like about Demon Slayer is in the second half.
Right,
but I think my biggest issue with it is Nezuko. Dare I say Nezuko? I like as a person I want to protect. As a daughter, great. She's about as good
what
as it
she's
gets.
for. If anybody's gonna tell you that she's like, a bastion of character writing or something, then I would not agree.
I don't see what she's used for aside from
episode 19.
Yeah. But and then her voice actress Akari Kito went on to win an award for Nezuko.
Wait, doesn't Nezuko not really say anything?
Nezuko doesn't say any words until
like half the time.
Yes.
She has like one, maybe two lines.
God,
in the
that's so
first
Galaxy
episode.
Brain.
And then in a later episode,
that made me kind of
voice
lift me a bit.
Yeah,
but the fights in it were all right. I didn't really get into it until the spider arc. I thought it was all right until then.
I think that's usually where.
Hold up. You didn't. I agree. Spider arc is dank as fuck. But you didn't like the flipping rooms?
The flipping room was cool.
It looked nice.
Oh, that was so cool.
It was cool. It was a cool, like, what they did, like, the camera effects and all that. But, I don't know, maybe that just distracted me from the rest of it, which was maybe the goal of Demon Slayer and why it's almost a 9 on Mal. But...
Ooh, that's a slay.
Wow.
It was a tad bit overrated. But the first half of it was fine. That's my, like, thoughts on this whole season.
Yeah.
It was fine.
You're fine.
But,
honestly, Minus is pretty fine.
Yeah, same.
But
you should call him Finest, like, because he's the finest.
Ooh,
yes. Finest. Oh my god,
we're getting zesty.
I don't want to slay Demon Slayer that badly, though.
Yeah, I will say, also speaking from the perspective of somebody who reads it, that like in the manga, the fights are usually like actually the worst of it for me because they're very roughly drawn sometimes, and it's actually kind of hard to follow action, which is kind of a gripe that I have with a lot of like action manga besides like Haikyuu and stuff, but we won't get to that. But yeah, so like the anime basically made the fights like actually one of the best parts of it, which was awesome. So yeah, pretty happy with it.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right, you want to move on to the next show, which is cock and ball torture called?
Oh my god.
See, I read it at CNT and I was like, that looks like cock and ball torture. It has to be.
There's no B.
One can argue that watching this show at some points was cock and ball torture, but without the cock and balls.
So I didn't even finish the show, but I did get past Core 1. I got like 2 episodes into Core 2 and went, nah, fuck this shit, I'm out. So there's, as someone who has been singing and who really likes pop music and follows the pop industry, there were like things that I think the show did really, really well. And then there are so many things that as a show, it did really, really poorly that pissed me off. So just to start, I really liked the music, at least what I heard to the episode that I dropped it.
I love the ED.
I wish they played the ED song in show more than they actually did. Like, that show could have taken them to the top, really. Like, or that song. Like, why didn't they play it? I don't think they played that song at all on the talent show.
No, they didn't.
The opening was really good.
That's a top 10 Billboard right there.
Yeah, like people are gonna be like, "Yo, that's fucking dope, dude." But
Hold Me Now was great, and they only used it for the music video episode, which was a good episode.
Right.
But I wish they would have like performed it on like the finale.
Interestingly enough, the only good
Brightest.
episode of this core also references Space Dandy.
Hell
so
yeah.
like, yeah. So I'm about that.
As a show, it was just really boring.
It was.
I mean, there was some
kind of
stuff
boring,
before,
honestly. Okay,
there was some stuff before Mars Brightest that I liked, and then Mars Brightest just
Mars that lasted like 4 episodes too long, and the decisions that they made in that, the judges' decisions were actually brain dead.
Yeah, no,
they were bought out, which was
now that you guys mention it,
Yeah.
that talent show section went on for like way longer than it really should have.
It was like 6 episodes.
Because like it actually showed all the performances of like other people, and I'm like, that's cool to some extent, but like they could have done this to where it's like My Hero Academia's tournament arc, where like some of the performances are maybe like way shorter, or they just like, okay, I'm gonna try to phrase this semi-intellectually. I was kind of hoping this show would be more of a character drama than like seeing characters do things, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I get that.
Because I didn't really learn a whole lot about Carol or Tuesday outside of a few things that were mentioned about their past, which I thought were interesting.
My mommy
stuff.
is Mars Hitler.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just didn't know who they were by the end of Core 1. So I'm like, when I see like Tuesday kidnapped back to her like hometown, I'm like, oh, that's cool, I guess. Cool. That sucks.
That lasted 1 episode.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone else feel like this was like structured in a way that was made for Netflix or something? Because it's funny because like the end of Core 1 is like this big climax kind of thing, or not climax, but like kind of a mid-season finale sort of thing. And then I realized, oh, only Core 1 is on Netflix at the moment. So I wondered if that was like had something to do with it. I wasn't totally sure, but something I thought about while I was watching it. But because they only have Core 1 on Netflix right now, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Netflix likes to release them as either separate seasons or separate
Which
parts.
is why I was thinking about the cliffhanger, not a cliffhanger, but like kind of like this, I guess, end in the first core, like, oh, the big climax of the first core is that like Tuesday gets, what is it called? Like kidnapped and they kind of win or whatever, the talent show. Like that's...
It ended in a draw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a draw. Fuck off. I hate this show. I don't hate this show. I just found it was like kind of mid. I do like the idea of like AI music though.
Okay,
that's really interesting.
That's something that like it like set up really early on, and I was hoping
and then didn't do anything.
I was hoping it would go much
but
much
all I
further
know is
than
that the
it did
guy
with it.
just is like super mysterious, and that's it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
Tao.
cool. Okay, does anyone else think that Tao looks like that one girl that was also in the talent show?
Sibel or whatever her name was.
Yes, Sybil or something. Sibel.
Sybil
I was like,
system.
are they related or something? They have like almost identical haircuts. I was like, wait, what the fuck? I was just waiting for like the bamboozle. I'm like, oh yes, they're totally on this scheme or something, or they're working together in some way. Nah, they're just like really similar looking character designs, I guess, but whatever. I have nothing else to say about the show beyond it just looked like
I
ass
just got
and
really
it was
bored
boring.
with it.
My main like problem with it is that it just tries to do like so much. Like I know, did any of you actually finish the second core? Or was that the only one?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Do you care if I like spoil like one part of it?
Go for it.
Not particularly.
At one part, they bring in like a terrorist plot line that just happens randomly.
I heard about this.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. But it does have like some connection to like what's going on under the thing, and also they have a guy who's basically Rick Rubin there too, which is
that's dope. Actually, that's super duper dope. Actually,
I did get to Rick Rubin. Yeah. That was great.
Anime Rick Rubin is pretty funny, but yeah, it just does like a whole lot of stuff and doesn't really, I guess, like push it as much as it should, kind of.
Can we talk about how?
Yeah, but it does have Denzel Curry in 2 songs.
It does have Denzel Curry. Awesome. It does have Thundercat, which is super duper cool.
Can we talk about how disappointing it was animation-wise for a Bones anime?
That's what I was...
For a music show, I thought the performances would look a lot better than they did.
Some of them did look really good. Like, there was a really early one that I saw a clip of again of them just in Carol's apartment, and like, it's not like super like out there or big, but the detail and the fidelity in the guitar playing and the piano playing and the singing was really, really nice, but they didn't do that for every performance.
Yeah.
Or there were like other peaks when like, what did I call him before we started recording? Mr. Douchey Pop Star Bro. Whenever he performed, the dancing animation was awesome.
Yeah.
But then
Piotr,
like, it wasn't, Piotr, and it wasn't consistent. And it really, really had accentuated peaks and troughs in the animation where it's like, this is where we focused our attention on this episode. Whoops, everything else is just
at some point.
not there.
Some point later on, they have like the Grammys, right? And like they're performing there, and during the performance, it literally just like rotates between the same like 4 crowd shots.
No,
and they're all pretty much static too. It was very disappointing because with like Watanabe, he has a music show, Kids on the Slope, that looked good as hell, and then he has a show with.
I think some of those scenes were rotoscoped.
Yeah, he has a show with Bones.
It's pretty cool,
Dandy.
Actually.
You put those two together, you don't get anything really close to either.
He directed Cowboy Bebop, which is the show that led to the founding of Bones. You'd think him coming back to Bones would be more of an event animation-wise like it was for Space Dandy.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, with Space Dandy was a really unique circumstance
That's
where
true.
They basically got... The episode directors were more like actual like lead directors on each individual episode they were on, and they got like superstar episode directors. So I guess that's different context-wise, but I definitely still expected more from a Watanabe Bones anime.
For sure.
Yo, speaking of Watanabe, I do like that the show is confirmed in the Cowboy Bebop universe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, their currency is Wulong. And then...
So it's a prequel.
And then they have the commercial with QT or whatever the robot was watching.
Do the Watanabe verse? Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yo, but where's my Mugen, Fu, and Jin? What the fuck?
Even the that robot, the music video robot, was voiced by the same voice actress as QT from Space Dandy.
Oh wait, that's Dank.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, but like Earth was like barren and inhospitable and by Cowboy Bebop, wasn't it? So like
that makes sense.
So this must definitely be like a prequel from like well before then, because Earth is still
the show takes place on Mars, right?
Yeah, but they mentioned like Earth is like known.
Oh, they mentioned Earth a couple times.
Yeah, Earth is known to still be like Gucci.
Earth is where they send back all like the refugees, pretty much.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Here we have
when the Denzel Curry, he like makes a song about like standing up to the system, pretty much, and then he just gets yeeted back to Earth.
Yeeted. I'm sorry, that word specifically makes me laugh every time. Yep. Not fuck you, Mr. Immigrant. We used to yeet you over the border, now we're just gonna yeet you to another planet. Woof.
Speaking of yeet, let's talk about One Punch Man Season 2?
Stop.
Question mark?
Stop. What was that transition? What was that transition?
It was terrible is what it was.
That was like Greg Miller up at noon levels of bad, except those were at least intentional.
Hey, I never said I was good.
Did anyone get that reference?
I don't think I got
That's
that.
kind of a deep cut. Okay.
Oh,
unfortunate.
I wish it wasn't.
Okay,
but...
okay. Does anyone actually want to talk about One Punch Man Season 2 beyond it looked bad?
Fuck the production committee, because it is 100% there. Oh, maybe not 100, because there were some very interesting creative decisions made by the staff too, but clearly this was rushed to production by the committee who just wanted a staff in a studio making this Season 2 sooner than I'm blanking on his name, but the director of Season 1 and the All-Stars that he gathered.
Natsume?
Natsume?
Shinzo Abe or something?
No,
not Shinzo Abe.
That's the Prime Minister.
I know.
No.
Why?
Is his last name Natsume? Why am I thinking of that?
Natsume, yeah.
I think it is, yeah. But they wanted it done faster than Natsume and the staff that he had brought on for Season 1 would be ready for. Yeah. So they're basically just like, we want money. Here, you guys come and do this, and you have this amount of time. But
yeah,
sir,
Shingo Natsume is what I was thinking.
Shingo Natsume, yeah. So they clearly just did not have the time that they needed to give this even close to the same level as it was in Season 1. And I guess in a vacuum, it wasn't the absolute worst looking thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It was pretty, like, in a vacuum, like, mid. But obviously average. That's going to be, like, really, really crap compared to one of the best animated TV anime of all time.
For sure.
So, like, that was just so disappointing. And I still watched it because, I mean, it's not like I just watched Season 1 for the animation, though that was a huge perk. What really brought me into that was the comedy and the writing, and that also just kind of fell flat for me this season. I don't really think it's Mangaka 1's fault. I blame that again on some of the direction just kind of neutering his writing.
Yeah.
So
like certain punchlines not like landing kind of.
No, yeah. It's kind of hard to... Well, and it shifted towards a different storytelling style. I forget who, but there was a YouTuber that talked about it, and it just that combination, I ended up dropping it.
Damn.
I'll pick it back up if there's a season. Sorry, the person above me just like stomped.
I was gonna say it's a party up there.
No, I don't know what is up with this guy who lives above me. Like I've caught him like hammering stuff at 11 o'clock at night before, and I went up and knocked on his door, and he just didn't answer, but he stopped doing it. It's just like, oh my god. Anyway,
you got like a broom to like tap the ceiling back.
No,
maybe one of those old.
I should get something.
Like,
I'll just take my
keep it down up there.
I'll just take my entire vacuum cleaner and just slam it into the ceiling. Shut
just
up.
Throw it periodically.
But I want to keep my vacuum cleaner.
That's true.
But what I was gonna before I stop talking because I've been talking a lot, I did want to say
talking about it. If you dropped it,
I dropped it. If Season 3 comes out and it has a good production, and it doesn't get totally bumfucked like this season did, I will pick Season 2 back up and just torture myself through the end of it just so I can watch Season 3. But for now, it's gone. It's down.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I don't think anyone was really surprised that it tanked production-wise, especially coming off the heels of Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, the season before. But some of the comedy was still there, which was its saving grace for me.
I like Garo a lot, actually.
Yeah, I like seeing Team Fubuki as well.
Yeah,
but I think there was one part in the middle where Saitama was like fighting in a tournament.
I was gonna mention that. And that tournament was
Fubuki. They were like cutting back and forth, and I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah, it was so boring.
It really dragged.
I fell off with it. Yeah, but until then, it was fine.
Yeah. That was like around where I wanted to. I was thinking about dropping it, but I stuck with it. And I did like the last couple episodes a bit because it was more Garo focused, but just in general, definitely a step down from Season 1.
Maybe I'll pick up the manga because I hear that's great.
Yeah,
and just pick up where I dropped the anime and just read that. Well, because the guy, not one himself, who makes like the purposely goofy dramas, but the guy they hired, his art apparently is just Oh, I mean, I've seen some of it. It is unbelievable. It's so good.
Yeah.
I have nothing new to add to.
Yeah.
The already beaten horse.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I
have nothing to add either because I didn't watch the show.
I don't even.
But like,
Like, I have sort of
I feel pretty okay now watching this show, because there's a couple of shows on this list that I didn't get to that I wanted to.
Yeah, I'd say...
The next show that we'll get to is one of those shows that I wanted to
get to. Out of the
ones,
this is something
One Punch Man was not one of them.
Bex, why are you even here?
Hey, we're going to talk about one show that's important, like super
Yusuke
important.
Murata, that's the artist.
Murata, yeah. Oh my god, he's so good.
Yeah, he's crazy. And, like, those chapters for it are like over 100 pages sometimes. He just goes insane on it.
He's insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain. Speaking of insane in the brain.
Wait, is that? I was thinking about making that transition, but I don't know anything about this show.
Yeah,
so.
for the next. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the new Ikuhara anime next, which is Sarazanmai.
Yes.
That's a fun tongue twister name, honestly. Try saying that like 5 times fast.
Sarazanmai.
Oh my god, you did it!
The madman.
All right.
Challenge accepted, bitch.
Damn.
Mad lads.
All right, did we like this show?
Yeah,
How did we feel
a little
about
bit
this,
too.
boys?
I like the show a little bit too much.
What do you mean by that?
Ooh, what else?
I think
do you like it in the same way you like Camp Buddy?
It's definitely really wacky in true Ikuhara fashion.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Mawaru Penguin Drum, mostly because I didn't understand it. But for an Ikuhara anime, I definitely feel like I understood this at some degree. But you kind of have to. You can't really take it too seriously, given that it's about like going into Kappa's buttholes and pulling out
Kappa
their
pride.
Pulling out their
desire. Yeah, the Shirikodama.
Yeah.
Shirikodama, I think.
But I think the characters are really fun. It was just a really fun show. Like, it looked really cool visually.
Oh, yeah.
And all the characters were interesting, to say the least. But it had some pretty cool twists in there as well.
Oh my god!
You also had some.
That's classic Ikuhara.
You also had some gay buddy cops, like
and gay buddy cops. You can forget.
I loved this too. Well, this is one of those shows that as I finished it, like the hype was just so high that I'm like, yes, oh my god, 10 out of 10, best ever. And then like a few months later, I'm like, that was an 8. It was
that's a slay.
Which
if it was a 7, it'd been a real slay.
Okay, again, an 8 for me is like really great. Like that's
the reincarnation of 17.
So it's still really great. It's about so I've seen oh my god. I've seen all of
that means so much.
I've seen all of Ikuhara's original stuff. So I've seen Utena in the movie and Penguin Drum and Yurikuma and Sarazanmai. So Sarazanmai would probably be like one of my least favorite Ikuharas, but like he's also my
still good
favorite director, so it's still great. I think what just really holds it back for me was its length. I wish we had more, and I wish there was more to do. Which, if that's the complaint I'm giving, that's a pretty fucking awesome show. I love how it handled I guess the most appropriate word to use is homoeroticism of the show, because it wasn't just the cops that were gay, it was the transformation sequences and the battles that even if not all the characters were like confirmed gay or whatever, or I guess there's a point of the show where that's, it doesn't matter if it's confirmed or not, but where it just delved so far into that, but handled it beautifully, which is not something you can say about the vast majority of anime that deals with male homosexuality. So that was a huge treat, and just the whole resolution to Reo and Mabu, and I want to make sure I'm not mixing up the two of them. Reo was the blonde, right? I'm pretty sure.
Mabu was
he's the dark skin, and Mabu is the Hosoya
Mabu,
with the glasses.
You can cut that part out, but Mabu sacrificing himself by saying "I love you" was great, and there were some really great. I was really getting into anime Twitter around the time that the show was airing, and there was a really good tweet about how. Hey, I've met some cool people on anime Twitter, but anyway, follow me at Chrispy294. The tweet about how this was a harsh criticism of the fans that say, a gay male couple needs to say "I love you." They need to kiss. They need to confirm their love for each other when you don't have the same standards for a straight couple in anime, and how hypocritical that is.
Just gotta connect,
as well as how damaging it is. It just the beauty in that part of the show is astounding. I think it's one of the parts that Ikuhara and the rest of the staff really handled well. I really appreciated it. And then, of course, right after we get given the next season, which also fucking slayed in terms of like gay male representation. So this was a good year, and this show was a huge part of it for LGBT representation and thematics in anime.
It's a show I do want to watch, because even though I don't like every Ikuhara anime I watch, I do find them interesting, and I like that they exist.
Yeah.
His shows are never boring.
Yeah, they're definitely it's definitely worth just for like the ideas and the presentation alone. Also the ED. The ED's fucking slaps.
It did not have the Mappa flop either.
Stand by me.
Also, okay, I don't know why this one show is listed after Sarazanmai, because we're going to talk about that last, because that's tradition at this point.
Damn it, no.
Instead, we're going to talk about Fruits Basket, the remake.
Yes.
And I've only seen 6 episodes of this show, but I have to say, I'm okay. I don't know about you guys, but I saw the original Fruits Basket about 4 years ago, and I thought it was kind of okay. And I'm watching this new one, and I'm like, I don't remember anything from the old show, but this one is like so pleasant to watch most of the time.
I feel that.
For whatever reason, the comedy is like super 2000s still, but it's like funny. I don't know why. Like even the weird beat 'em ups yandere girl that
Kagura.
likes Rio a lot. Yes. She like her gags are still funny. Like she just like lassos I think Rio around like a rope in like one of the episodes, and it's funny as shit because it's animated really well. And I'm like, this would have never been funny in like the 2001 series because it would just look like shit, right? But this one is like way funnier. I love pretty much everyone in the show. I even love Toru, even though even when I announced that I enjoy watching Toru and she's super protect in the server, everyone's like, wow, Toru's really boring. And
really?
I'm like,
no, I love Toru.
Same.
What the heck?
Toru's nice.
Who is saying
She is
that?
what we call a cinnamon roll.
She is a cinnamon roll.
Who is saying that Toru's boring?
I will agree that Toru is nice. I did not like the show though.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah.
I know you dropped it like 3 episodes in.
I was 3 episodes in. I had never seen the old one. I watched the first episode. I mean, these first 3 episodes, looking at the visuals, I'm like, oh, this is really, really well drawn, but not at all animated.
That's fine with me, to be honest.
It's not a death toll. No, it's not a deal breaker. So I got past that, and I really liked episode 1. I thought it was super interesting. I thought it set up some really interesting characters, and the little supernatural twist at the end was nice. And then episodes 2 and 3 just kind of devolved.
Wait, I thought episode 3 was great. Where the scene where Toru and the mouse guy were just like walking on the bridge. I was like, dude, this is lit. I like this. I resonate with this guy.
I thought it delved into total stereotypical schlocky shoujo stuff that I just did not like. And
there is a reason why this was considered like this is like in a lot of people's
grandmother of all
hearts.
shoujo.
Yeah, this is the grandmother. I'm like that makes sense.
Which is not a problem in and of itself. I just thought it was really boring and nothing special by that point.
If you don't like them at their like base value,
I also thought. Or just not thought. I was also watching a ton, so I was very harsh with drops. And I have heard that literally the next episode, like right after I dropped it, it changes and becomes more interesting. So this is definitely one of the shows that I'm like, I didn't like what I watched. I dropped it, but it's like on the short list of something to pick back up, especially if like someone contracts it to me or something. So I'm definitely opening to try it again. That has been inconsistent with other shows I've tried again. Like Aka, I just started over from the beginning again after it had finished and finished it and I loved it. Whereas like High Score Girl, I still hated it when I picked it back up and tried to finish it. Damn. So we'll see what happens with Fruits Basket. But as of right now, not a fan. Okay, I'm done talking. You guys can gush about it.
I know Minus likes the show a lot.
Yeah,
so
I'm kind of in the same boat as Bex, where I watched the original anime, and then like right after I finished watching it, the remake got announced, and I was like, oh, okay. But the original anime it's all right. I like how the remake focuses a lot more on the drama. I feel like the older one is a lot more comedy focused. And the older anime did not age well at all.
It did not.
But
well, it was Studio Dean.
Yeah, that's true. But the remake, there's just so many classic moments in Fruits Basket. Especially, I think I cite the episode where at the New Year's, where they go to Akito's, the family estate for New Year's, and leave Toru by herself. And then her friends are just like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you thinking leaving her alone without her mother? And then they go back and find her crying. Like, that, I knew that was coming. That still hit me like a bus.
Feels bad, man.
But, like, all the boys are cute. Like, it looks nice. Like Fruits Basket isn't... I don't watch Fruits Basket for its animation. So...
Oh, the boys are very cute.
They are cute. Hatsuharu is my favorite. He'll always have my heart.
I don't think I met Hatsuharu.
No, he doesn't come in until almost the second
I think it was like episode 10 or something. But
he looks a little edgy for me.
No,
but
he's super dank.
Yeah.
Who did I really like before I dropped it? I thought
the only character I flat out discussed, or not really discussed them, but I don't really like Kagura too much. Just because, like you said, her humor is really 2000s, which doesn't really age well.
But for whatever reason, I just found it funny. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a blast from the past. I missed 2000s anime a little bit. Wow.
I don't really care much for Momiji either, but all the rest of them are...
Has Momiji been introduced? Because I'm only 6 episodes in.
Maybe.
I feel like he might have... I feel like he's...
Is Momiji an older guy?
He's the young one.
He's like a lolly.
I'm literally on the Mal page.
He's the small one.
Because there was a guy that just... It was during like the festival episode.
Momiji's the rabbit. He came in at the end of episode 3, didn't he?
Yeah,
they
now
show
I remember,
him, but they don't really give him a name until later.
Oh yes, the bunny that looks like Pikachu.
He says some bad German, and then he pieces out.
Yeah. But this is my personal anime of the season.
This is actually one of the things that I've followed airing that I've rated the highest that I hadn't already read pretty much, or wasn't a sequel to something. Because my favorites of this year are Kimetsu and Kaguya Neverland, and I literally read all 3 of those. But Fruits Basket is right up there with them, and I knew actually nothing about it going into this. Because I knew it was like the big shoujo, but I never really got into it or anything. But yeah, this is a super pleasant surprise for me. So
I need to get me some friends Utani and
Saki
Wave Girl. Yeah.
I need to get me some friends.
Hey, we're all right here, man.
Yeah, hey.
We're here for you,
You guys are my friends. Yeah. No, but this is a pleasant show to watch, at least in my opinion. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, for basically rewatching the original for the first 20 or so episodes, it definitely felt new.
Oh, so season 1 already diverged from where
the
original
season 1 of the first one is anime original towards the ending, so
damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can already tell you this is probably going to end up on my favorites by the ending of the 3rd season.
Ooh, look at you.
Is it confirmed to be 3 seasons?
I think it was
63 episodes.
It was a thick boy.
It's a big boy. Yes.
The boys may be skinny, but the show itself is pretty thick.
Look at this chunk.
Oh my god! You got a big chungus anime coming through.
What is one of their?
I haven't thought about the big chungus.
One of their zodiacs. One of their zodiacs is gonna be big chungus.
We already met him. It's the rabbit. Yeah. He's just gonna get fat.
Oh my gosh.
Momiji's just gonna get fat.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Yeah, thumbs up on this show. I like it. Protect Toru.
Yes.
Oh, let's see what the next show is. We're gonna talk about Bowchi. Bowchi. I don't know what the full name
Tori
is.
Bowchi no Maru Seikatsu.
Yep. Say that 5 times fast.
I won't, because I'm sick and I don't really want to do it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, no, he did it!
I can say it really fast, though.
Wait, did Minus only watch this
No,
show?
I watched it.
No, I watched it.
I was like,
Okay,
did you guys make me watch this stuff with you to talk about it?
Sorry, Bochi, you gotta take the fall.
I made you watch it because I liked
Minus,
it.
you're the only one that was like, yes, I want to watch Bowchi. We're like,
I'll watch Bowchi.
okay, dude,
Because
cool,
they,
do it.
on the impressions, the spring 2019 impressions, they sold it to me so hard. But so when I actually sat down to watch it, I was like, oh, this is probably... I didn't expect much. Like, it's a cute girls doing cute things.
Yeah. And you only
it
made it into 9 episodes. Jeez.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting for it to be, like, funny.
You're waiting 9 episodes for it to be good.
It's alright. It's not like... There have been a couple times where I'm just like, wahaha. But...
Yeah, the wahaha thing.
Nothing's really made me, like, laugh.
Yeah.
Like a ton.
Yeah, like the Wahaha episode I kind of like totally zoned out on, and then like I saw like everybody talking about it after the fact, and I was like, oh, okay.
Alright, cool.
I loved the Wahaha episode.
But it's cute, and it's really wholesome. And I just really want to cheer Bowchi on and like watch her make friends.
It just feels good, but it's also kind of cringy sometimes, but it feels
also,
good.
I have this weird thing when I watch it where it's like, when the group is together, the whole main cast, it just feels kind of awkward. Their personalities don't really, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see that group of friends existing in real life.
Well, it's all about Hitori Bowchi bringing together people that wouldn't otherwise
gotta be a good friend to everybody in the class, or else your old friend is gonna disown you.
Yeah. I like her and Sotoka's interactions, though.
Yeah, Sotoka's my favorite.
They're pretty good.
Oh my god.
That's my girl.
I really liked Nako and Aru's, like, rivalry bullshit kind of stuff. That I thought that was really funny. Whenever Nako would just call Aru out on her shit, and Aru would be, like, super pissed, like, no, I'm perfect. I'm not unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez Louise.
I'm bummed that it didn't adapt far enough to... I mean, I haven't read the manga, so this is not a spoiler. This is my speculation, but I'm bummed it didn't adapt to the point where Kako inevitably gets charmed into being Bowchi's friend.
Yeah.
She was still being Altsune today, or Boltsune.
Yeah. I remember Tay pointing out on the spring impressions that her name means, like, dark past or something. So, it's just like, oh god.
Oh no.
But... yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen this show, and I don't really plan on watching the show.
It's so
TBH.
good, though.
Is it good?
If you need, like, a healing anime,
it's very wholesome.
It's
good. If I needed healing anime, I'll just watch Aru again. I know what I mean.
It's like its slow start was actually good.
Damn.
Those are fighting words for some people in the server.
Oh, I know. Okay, I don't hate slow start.
I know if Safa, if that's what you guys call it. Spa. Safari. I don't know. Or like, I know Sodra likes it a lot, so there's that too.
Bowchi's better. Slow start is not good. It's not bad either, but it's not good.
I mean, if you have the word slow in your name, it's like, bro, it's probably bad.
Wow,
you got a lot of catching up to do.
Wait, no, I wasn't even being ableist. Like, I thought like the show would have a slow start. Like, that's what I thought it would be. I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible.
Well, it's because she had to go behind a grade because she got, what was it, sick during the
Wait, no, that's horrible. I feel like an asshole now. God, first I'm accused of ableism. Now I'm just an asshole in general.
Yeah,
like, wow.
I mean,
I didn't even know the context.
I make the comparison because they are both CG DCT. So I had to think about that for a second. They are both cute girls doing cute things. Shows that focus on a main character with social anxiety. And I think Bowchi does it really well. There was definitely like...
Wait, that's actually kind of a vibe. I'm socially... and I'm not going to say anorexic.
Socially
anxious.
Yes.
Jeez,
I don't know why when I think of the word anxious, I think of the word anorexic for some reason. And then I'm like, yes, I'm socially anorexic.
You are the only person I know who stops themselves from having a Freudian slip and then literally tells us what the Freudian slip is before correcting it.
Because explaining the Freudian slip is low-key funny, to be honest.
It is.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's a charming quirk. But there were some episodes in like the third quarter that I think dragged a bit for me or just weren't as funny, and then it picked up a little bit in the last quarter, the last 3 episodes. So this was like a show that definitely could have been like an 8 or a 9 for me.
The episode about Sotoka when she like went home to nothing because her parents are abroad.
Oh, that was depressing.
That sounds so anime.
That was sad.
Yeah, it was sad.
So
but it felt good.
But
at
the
the
opening
end
goes hard.
Oh yeah, the opening hard.
The opening is
AF.
a banger. A banger.
I just appreciate openings where they have the characters sing it too.
Oh, that's always fun when the characters sing songs together.
Those are hit or miss for me. This one was
Okay,
good.
yeah, I couldn't say that because the fucking Demon Daughter show that also had the girl sing the opening, and I wanted to die. So that can't be a catch-all. It was like if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat the Demon Lord or something.
You watched that?
Unfortunately,
no. So you don't have to do this to yourself.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.
Oh no, dude! Don't do this to yourself.
Yeah,
that's 2 more points than I'll ever give it because I'm not gonna
watch it. You deserve better,
it.
King.
I do. I should watch the next seasons of Aria. Heal myself from that mess.
You should.
Pour one out for Nose.
Only kings watch Aria. Like Shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I've been hanging around Tay lately, so it's like, the bad jokes.
Why would you do that to yourself?
They're rubbing off on me. Okay.
Low-key, does Tay actually work for Sentai?
It could seem like that, however, he does not.
It really seems like that, especially if you follow Tay on Twitter.
He's like the next Miles of Crunchyroll.
How many of these shows can we watch on High Dive?
He's the Miles of... he's the kilometers of Sentai Filmworks.
Oh god, I hate that so much. Why did you make that? Why did you make that pun? You were not required to.
I didn't have to, but I had to do it to him at the same time.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. So speaking of shows that had to do it to us, we're going to talk about one more show. Actually, this is the second to last show, but we'll talk about it. We all have conflicting opinions on this because it's a show we all like, and that's Aggretsuko Season 2.
You sure you don't want to save that to the end?
I mean, do we want to talk about Dorororo?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
Let's talk about Dorororo really quickly.
It's gonna be quick. It's gonna be quick. It's just the 2 of us, and not a lot to say.
Starting from the beginning of winter season, when Dorororo started, I, of course, as many probably did notice that Mappa was co-producing it, and was very much waiting for the notorious Mappa flop, as I like to call it. As Mappa, their producers, they're not so good
about to find
at
this comment
scheduling and management. The flop is coming. Tezuka Productions was on it too, so there was like hope, but I was in many Discord servers going, there's going to be a flop. Oh yeah, you just posted the screenshot of me in this server going, just please don't hit the Mappa flop. Dorororo has barely been avoiding it as is. Oh wow, that must have been later in Core 1. Yeah. So Core 2 flopped hard at first. It recovered. It never quite got to the same level it was in Core 1. But oh my god, episode 15 was the low point. And I don't totally blame the episode director, as some do, as he's just kind of a kooky guy who has a cool style, and there were some cool ideas in the episode.
Yeah, that one shot him. With like when he's on the canoe and the moth, I think it was, or whatever.
I don't even remember.
I don't know. It was really weird, but it was very stylish. But
the 2 cuts that like got memed to death for good reason because they are horrible. Was him running through the forest and like literally teleporting because they didn't do the in-between animation, and the moth thing going up into the watchtower and it just exploding. Like they didn't. I still don't know what exactly was supposed to happen to cause an explosion. Yeah, well, there was a really cool cut of Dorororo herself. When she was like underneath the shed or whatever, running away from some of the ghouls or whatever, and there was a really cool cut there. It was a little sloppy because of, again, the episode just completely tanked.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some cool ideas, and it's clear this episode director, who is pretty maligned for some other flop episodes from other shows, it's clear the dude has some good ideas, but I think a combination of clearly he's a factor in some way, and Mappa's usual lack of managerial competence led to that. And the episodes around it also just were not great. Really sloppy drawings, lack of animation. The shark episodes afterwards looked pretty goofy too.
The shark
right at the end of that arc, right at the end of the arc when Tahomaru came and fought Hyakkimaru, it's like, whoops, never mind, time to go back to having good animation. I was like, oh, missed you, bud. Welcome back.
For real.
So that's what I just wanted to say there, because I still think it's funny that it, after I pleaded on Discord multiple times, it still flopped. It still had the Mappa flop.
Yeah. I think, like you said, though, it did recover. Just the last arc in general was pretty good.
Yes.
I think it was, like, pretty close to the quality that we got out of the stuff in the first core. Just, like, from a, like, story standpoint. And, like, what's actually going on.
Writing-wise, it never really dipped.
Yeah.
I think the only time it dipped was episode 15, because it baffles me that they gave this guy that episode, which was the second half of a 2-episode arc. Give him, he has a weird style, give him his own 1-episode story. And from a writing perspective, that would have helped a ton. Because it was just jarring to go from a normal Dorororo episode to the second half of the story being told in a completely different style.
Agreed.
Oh, was this the guy that directed Beck?
He did Gurren Lagann episode 4 too.
And he also directed Beck.
That's the notorious one.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, Beck is one of those shows I was going to say I would rather watch instead of Carol and Tuesday, by the way. Because that did the whole band thing a little bit better.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, well, apparently when he, like, series directs, like, he does a pretty good job. But it's when he episode directs that people get really mad, and from what I've seen, for good reason sometimes. Though, again, I have a feeling this particular one was also Mappa's producer's fault.
Right.
Because they have shown themselves to have poor managerial skills.
Right.
Feels bad. Otherwise, though, really good show.
Oh, I loved it, yeah.
Okay, I think we can
talk about Aggretsuko now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. What about MIRU tights?
Oh, no, we're saving MIRU tights for later. It's like the last show.
Sorry, you ruined the surprise. Cut this section. Cut this section.
All right. Okay, so I have learned... I mean, actually, I'm not going to even start there. I'm going to say Aggretsuko from last year was one of our favorite shows of the season, probably. I think everyone...
It was my anime of the season.
Yeah, it was one of... everyone in the show... Everyone on the episode liked it. We couldn't recommend it enough. And now we're a year later, and season 2 is aired, and we're kind of divided on it, because some people like it more than season 1, and then some people like it less than season 1. And I'm going to start with the people that like it more than season 1, and I'm going to ask why. Because I don't really get the appeal of season 2, to be honest.
So
who's the people that like it?
It's Chrispy and Minus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's us.
Okay. I mean, who's on my team? Who's on my team here?
It wasn't so much that I liked it more, maybe a little more, but it was pretty damn even for me.
Really? Okay.
My identifying view on this show is that, unlike you two, I did not like it less.
Okay.
Is a more fair way to put it.
That's maybe I have a better question. What do you see in Anai that Nos and I don't see in Anai?
He's annoying as fuck, and I hate him as a person, but this is also an anime where he is a written character who I found very entertaining.
Okay. I feel like I didn't
There's
get the
that separation
not
between
that I didn't get the
fuck you, you piece of shit, and you are an entertaining character.
I feel like I didn't, not so much like the appeal of Anai. Like, there are plenty of people in Aggretsuko that are like shitty people, but I get the point of them. I don't think I got the point of Anai because I was like, is he just an asshole zoomer? Is that his whole like shtick? I feel like that's what his shtick is, and I'm like, I don't think I've worked with anyone that's like this, that's like Anai. The thing is with like.
I think
you go okay.
It was a very specifically Japanese.
That's the thing is like
thing.
I feel like I didn't really like resonate with it because I'm like I don't relate to this in particular as much. But
he was very much a product of their culture, bringing up someone who is over stressed about work and appealing to authority, but clearly also has this kind of self-centered, protective or defensive, I guess is a better word, urge or nature that causes him to lash out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm even quite properly saying it, but yeah, it definitely, he's a very Japanese character. So it's not the type of person I guess you would see in like a Western workplace.
Right. Because like the thing with season 1 that I liked is that at least with each character, I could like pinpoint or like at least understand where that character is not coming from, but like what that character represents essentially. Because like with everyone in season 1, I could say, oh, this character reminds me of someone that I've worked with in the past. Same with this character, this character, this character. All have different traits, but at least they all represent a very relatable kind of thing in your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because in like the Western workplace, behavior like that would while we still have some of it, we do not have quite the same culture, at least in the average workplace, of brown-nosing your manager, because they also don't use that much power harassment in comparison to what is at least portrayed in Japanese media. I don't want to, completely say that what we see in anime is 100% accurate
obviously
to real life. Japan, obviously, but this is, a show that hyperbolizes a lot of that. Power harassment is a very big thing in Japan that is very much a part of an Ice character, as not only does he schmooze up to the boss to avoid it from him, but accuses anyone who, disagrees or has even the most constructive of criticisms about him of
as like harassment or something,
using power harassment. So yeah, like in the Western workplace, or at least when I think of in my workplace, if someone were to like constantly threaten that, like you wouldn't get away with that. I would,
that shit doesn't usually fly in the West as much.
No, you can't abuse threats of HR action like that, because you can just go to HR and say, well, hey, look what this guy threatened to do. And they'd be like, well, that guy's crazy. You're clearly in the right, and he's clearly the problem. Where I guess there's like, what it's trying to say, at least in the show, is there's like strict hierarchical ramifications, as well as the reaction to power harassment in Japan, where they're going to take, reports of that more seriously as a very, very recent reaction to the problem. So yeah, I can see how, like, as Americans, I'm pretty sure we all said we were Americans before, right?
Yeah.
As Americans culturally, that's not the type of character we're really going to see like a 1-to-1 correlation with in our own workplaces. So I get that.
Yeah.
I thought he was funny as fuck though, because he was a little twit, and then he...
See, the thing is like
then he came
there
around.
are plenty of people I didn't like in season 1, but I still found them to be, what's the term? Not salvageable, but like also kind of, they're a little more nuanced as people. Like say, Retsuko's boss, in season 1 is like, Tone is like literally a sexist pig, but then you learn later on that he's not just a sexist pig, but he's a little bit more than that actually. And it's like, oh wow, people are a lot more complicated than they actually seem at first glance. But with Anai, I'm like, I don't remember anything that he does that makes them seem a little bit more, I guess, nuanced. I mean, he saves the company with their food stand at the festival, but like that's about it.
He make the good food.
Yeah, he makes the good food, and I'm like, that's cool, I guess? Question mark.
I think the whole point was to kind of portray his complex of it really, or part of it coming from him wanting to be helpful and just him being so nervous of contributing in the workplace as well. So he finally had a win, and he got some confidence in himself. I agree that he wasn't as developed as some of the other characters though.
Or I guess his development wasn't like in your face or like as obvious, if that makes sense. It's more like kind of something you think about later on. It's like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
So what really elevated this season for me to the same or slightly above level was the whole arc with her boyfriend this season,
Tadano.
Whose name... Thank you, Tadano. I know they don't have him on Mal, do they?
Yeah, fuck Mal.
He's on the fucking key. He's on the key art. Use He's on the key art and he's not in the character list.
Right? That's the funniest part. God,
that's ridiculous. Yeah, Tadano. I thought that arc was super well done. They introduced him early. They built up his relationship with Aggretsuko, and then I just thought it was so powerful because, you know, she's roped into this crazy celebrity relationship and, you know, moving towards, she really thinks this is someone who she can have a life with. And I think the ending was truly powerful because I think in our modern day and age, especially from a Western cultural perspective, we think of something that encourages women to get married and be stay-at-home moms as problematic, and for good reason a lot of the time, because it obviously has been used to oppress women and keep them in a specific role for centuries,
for sure.
if not millennia. But I think the ending to Aggretsuko Season 2 really did a good job of towing the line between, you know, empowering Aggretsuko as a female character in doing what she wanted to do, and then being able to admit that while we should be empowering women to do anything they want, some of them still want to be stay-at-home moms and get married and have a family and, you know, come at that from a place of love. And that is still a valid choice, even though nowadays we definitely should still encourage that is no longer the only choice.
That is a choice, just not the choice.
The choice. Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, there still can be stuff to be said about, they're brainwashed or they're taught by society to want this.
You're not any less empowered if you want to be a stay-at-home mom kind of thing, or like a housemaker or whatever. Yeah. If you want to do that, then that's... If you're educated and confident enough in yourself and you still want to be a stay-at-home mom, that is still a valid choice. Like, yes, queen, slay, obvious.
The point is, it's her choice.
Yep.
She shouldn't have to give up on that because Tadano didn't want that.
I appreciate, like, I literally just watched it today, the last 5 episodes, but I appreciated the conversation that Ton had with her in the break room about, like, when she was, like, trying to say, this is what I want, he was like, no, you're just regurgitating what Tadano told you. I got married because that's, like, the choice that I wanted to make, so you need to make the choice for yourself, what you want to do. So, yeah.
I saw speaking of queens, first of all,
the bird.
My biggest gripe with season 2 is that Queen Washimi and the gorilla never made up. But that's another day. But I think my favorite part of the season was Tadano's arc as well. But I saw it more as a really big moment for Retsuko's character because she, like, honestly, she was really naive for.
That's been her character since season 1. Is just extremely naive. Yeah,
and I think she needed that feeling of heartbreak, as like cruel as that sounds. She needed that feeling of heartbreak to really, like, snap out of it almost.
Yeah. It's like a teaching moment. Yeah. A lot of the times when
it was really weird to watch because I was just like, Retsuko, like, he's right there. But
I don't think she would really learn anything if she ended up with Haida, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think as like an end goal, but she has to kind of experience, hit all the speed bumps along the way.
Well, let's remember, though, that I think the point with Haida is, as nice of a guy as he is, and as much as he likes Aggretsuko, the point there is just because we like him as an option for her, and just because he likes her so
doesn't
much,
mean he would be a good option.
Doesn't mean that she has to reciprocate those feelings. She doesn't have to love Haida back as much as that would be a, you know, great typical
that would
romantic,
be super cute, but it wouldn't. Doesn't have to happen,
like
for sure.
Ending to it. Resolution is what I was looking for. Yeah, she doesn't. Haida's great, but she does not. She is not required to reciprocate his feelings. Goes back to the whole thing about women, you know, should be fully empowered in what they do with their lives. Yeah, they should have full agency.
Damn, this show's woke. My dudes.
Very woke. I still think it was a big
joke,
moment,
but it is really,
no, it really
woke.
is. Yeah. That's kind of what I mean. I don't like it for being woke, but that's one of the things I appreciated is that, like, it's a little bit more nuanced about these topics than most other shows, I feel like, but I like it.
Anime is not exactly known for being a bastion of nuanced
for sure,
gender politics and workplace conditions.
You guys excited for season 3? I'm
Yes.
interested in seeing where it goes.
Yes,
Because I
same.
thought a lot of characters that I did like from season 1 got a little sidelined. Like Haida got sidelined this season for sure. Feneko got not much screen time. A lot of the characters that I was hoping to see more of didn't get as much screen time in season 2, so I'm hoping they kind of come back a little bit in season 3 for some more development and stuff like that.
Like the yoga
Yes,
instructor.
I want more
He's still one of my favorites.
Protein. Yeah, I missed him so much.
I want to see the bird and the gorilla makeup, like
yes, me too.
Because they're queens and they need to continue slaying.
I really appreciated that the rap battle that they had was set to like the background music for it was like their music when they were like walking down the hallway.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Well, this season was kind of, well, I don't know about more of a musical. I guess season 1 was a musical too, because she had she had a lot more screaming stuff.
Yeah, that had the random song of like her and Tadano singing.
Song. Yeah, singing like a Disney style.
Yeah, that's what I was
song.
thinking. It was like, oh, this feels like more
great.
musical or something, like traditional musical stuff. And I was like, oh,
yeah, which technically it has always been a musical.
Yes,
and I like that they delved into it and added variety.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, because I was saying the same.
We know the vibes.
I did. I want to be like fair. Like I did like this season. I still like there were still moments that made me laugh. Like it's still a funny show. It's just like I don't know if I loved it the same amount or had that same like initial charm the first season had. If that makes sense. It's like more so that like I think I had expectations for season 2 as opposed to season 1, where I just went into it kind of blind and I was like really surprised and impressed by it. But with season 2, I was kind of expecting a couple of other things, but I didn't really get that stuff. And then I had a bunch of other arcs that I didn't really like as much, right? Like the whole Anai thing, I wasn't really huge on. And I'm like, oh, this isn't as like good. I gotta say, I was also drunk when I watched the show, so that might have something to do with this.
Oh my god.
It was my birthday. I was celebrating my birthday watching Aggretsuko. I was hoping to really like it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get fucking hammered and then watch this show. And I still found it funny, but I may have but the meaning may have been lost on me because I was inebriated. Not totally sure, but...
Oh my god. Yeah, it seems there are multiple factors. What about you, Nos? Do you have a valid excuse?
Right. No, I think you cut out. I didn't really hear everything you said.
Yeah.
Oh, I cut out?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, oh, watch this. My recording definitely picked it up, so this is going to be awkward in the final episode. So, thanks, network issues. I said, no, do you have a valid excuse for liking it less?
I don't think it is. I've never claimed to be valid in any way. You know, like...
Damn.
Oh, no.
I am what they say invalid. Like... I mean, I am like now that you've explained Anai's like point, quote unquote point, I do like I am interested in like watching the show again, to be honest, or watching season 2 again with that in mind, and then appreciating it a little bit more.
He was asking me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
No, just let him go. Let him keep going.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No,
okay.
sorry, I'm kind of drunk right now.
Wait, that was minus the whole time?
Oh no.
I was tapped out, so I didn't
I'm so embarrassed. I'm just gonna...
My main thing... No, it's okay. I appreciate it. My main thing was just... I was just more annoyed by Anai than anything. It was like... I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it just kind of like actively bogged down the first part for me, and then the stuff with Tadano. Like, obviously I appreciate it more after like what we've talked about coming out of it, but in the moment it was pretty... I was kind of just there, along for the ride, kind of, but I can't really elaborate on that much.
I remember talking to Nos a little bit about season 2, and he had the angry SpongeBob emote, and I was like, that's just how I felt about Anai the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much. I get his role now after you talked about it, but
yeah,
it still doesn't mean I don't.
It makes a little bit more sense, but I'm like, I guess I was just coming from like a Western perspective on things, because I think that's what like most of the appeal of like season 1 was like a lot of like people. I think it was Minus that said it. If you've worked a day in your life, you could probably resonate with this show. Yeah, and that just all over the world, everyone works, so everyone could probably resonate with the show on some level. But now with season 2, it's like a very oddly specific thing with a character, and it's like not everyone outside of Japan would really get it, right?
Yeah, so it was, well, it's weird you say that because there were definitely, Aggretsuko season 1 was definitely still steeped in Japanese culture and workplace ethics. It's just that I think it's more of a coincidence, or maybe they purposely chose specific things that would have more of a broad appeal because Netflix.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there were the issues in season 1 were still very much embedded in Japanese culture too. I mean, like I said, power harassment, that phrase, I mean, that type of harassment and behavior is definitely still in Western workplaces. Yeah. And it is definitely still, an issue here as well, which is why it's relatable. But that phrase power harassment is, from what I've seen at least, a very Japanese thing. And that was like what Tone's entire antagonistic arc with Retsuko herself, I almost called her Aggretsuko, what his entire, deal with Retsuko was about power harassment. It just happened to be, a little more broad appealing. And the whole, work-life balance is pretty universal. Definitely an issue that Japanese employees run up against and very relevant to their culture, but just something that's a little more broadly appealing. I don't know if anything about her first boyfriend is broadly appealing, though. Because, girl, what did you see in that piece of cardboard?
Right? Yeah. We're still mad about that.
I just, fuck that guy. Like, Tadano 10 million times better than him.
I still feel like I found the appeal, like the broader appeal in like Aggretsuko going after this like super dense guy, or not even dense. What's the word? He's like dumber than wood or something. Dumber than a pole.
He's dumber than a bag of rocks.
Yeah, like
he was just boring.
I found like I guess the main appeal I saw is that like when you're like kind of new to everything, like you may not understand that like someone who seems really nice or cool is actually like kind of a dumbass or an asshole in retrospect, which was what the whole show was about.
Or just not with it in general.
Yeah. And it's like, as you learn more about this guy, you're just like, oh, I hate this guy kind of thing. That was the whole, that was like kind of the point of like season 1 and to some extent season 2, right? Is like, this person may seem like one thing at first, but then you learn about them and they're like a little bit more nuanced, right? Or not nuanced, but like you learn more.
It almost came off to me like weirdly tied into the fact that they were animals and had like nothing to do with I think I cut out there, so I'll repeat that. It almost to me seemed like it was tied more to them being animals and had nothing to do with...
That's fair enough too.
The real life thing that he was another red panda and she saw him
so she was
as
just being
like
shallow.
an attractive red panda, and it's like kind of low key allegorical to racism.
Why are they red pandas if they're never red? Like, I know actual red pandas are like somewhat reddish brown, but these red pandas are yellow. This doesn't make any sense. It's always bothered me.
Retsuko isn't yellow. Oh wait, she kind of is yellow.
Yeah, she's pretty.
I just pulled up a picture. I mean, she's like very light orange.
Wait, you guys consider that an orange?
I consider that an orange.
Is the dress like blue or gold, or
it's like it's it was black and blue and gold and white.
Yes,
the colors.
See, I've always thought she was just yellow this whole time.
That is not yellow.
Who said that? No.
Wait, Retsuko is yellow. Come on.
No, Retsuko is orange.
Wait, you guys are weird.
Rasasuke is like a yellow.
I think she's
tan,
like she's like the color like when you have like that huge like pack of crayons in elementary school. Like when you already put like you want to put
you were gonna
red
say
on
like baby shit orange or something. I was like, oh no.
You want to put like red on your fire, but you know that's too strong, so you gotta
this
like
not yellow. This is a yellow. Come on,
you gotta like get the combo of like yellow orange to.
I feel like I'm going crazy. This is clearly. Oh my god! What the? Oh my gosh! You know the background picture of like one of the Mal pictures is more red than she is. So like that.
I'm gonna find a yellow orange crayon.
Hold on! I'm literally gonna take a snapshot of just the color.
Oh my god! I am so pissed off at myself because I think this is yellow.
Time to use the color picker and GIMP.
No.
All right.
Like, he's like orange.
It is definitely orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just found
orange yellow.
I stand by yellow orange.
See that? See that? What color does that look to you, Bax, on the chat window there?
What is the first word on that? That color?
Crayola.com.
Yeah, that's what I thought, buddy.
I didn't even know there was a Crayola.com. I'm very pleasantly surprised by this.
Oh my god.
Yes.
No, Bax, ignore what Nos posted. Look at what I posted.
Okay.
What color is that?
That's yellow.
No, it's not.
Maybe the brightness on my computer is fucked up, but
That's gold.
like Retsuko's been yellow for a minute, fam.
Rasasuke I can see as yellow. He's like a
If nothing
sand
else,
yellow color.
I took away. I'm older than the yellow-orange crayon.
Holy crap.
I think it might just be weird. I guess I'm just a crazy man.
Okay, Bex, you are definitely weird. I don't know if that has anything to do with this, though.
Damn.
But I love it.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I agree to disagree, I think.
I think we spent like 5 minutes on what color is Retsuko.
Because that's like far more interesting.
Deep dive.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
I can, you know what? Viewers at home or on the toilet or wherever you may be listening to this podcast.
Wait, do you guys listen to podcasts on the toilet? Like,
I have no idea. So
I'm not going to answer that question.
This is the hex code for Rexco. It's FABF3D. You plop that hex code into a website, and you tell us in the comments below what fucking color it is. Because I bet the vast
just go look
majority
a picture of Retsuko
are going to say orange.
on like her Mal picture, and just tell me if that's yellow or orange. Because like,
I shall be vindicated.
We're gonna settle this. I swear to God.
I'm gonna stand by yellow orange. Take that middle ground.
There's a website actually that I found where you could put in a hex code and it'll tell you what color it is. Where is it? I think I bookmarked it.
I bet it would tell you it's yellow.
This is gonna be funny because it's actually gonna.
I don't believe it. I refuse to believe any of
orange
this.
again.
I'm trying to find that. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. All right, moment of truth. I'm putting the code in. This is not helpful.
Oh, what does it say?
It says the color.
Ooh, this doesn't support my narrative.
It says the color is sun glow.
Oh, you know what color the sun is? Tell me,
actually.
Crispy, tell me,
It's
what
white.
color is the sun?
White.
Fuck off.
That's true. After you draw the sun in the top left corner of your paper, you gotta put the sunglasses on it, and then you color it yellow. So
yes,
that's true.
I always put a smiley face on my sun because I'm like, yo, the sun is so happy when it's burning everything alive. It's great.
Burn, baby, burn. It's still orange.
Oh god, this is gonna be the new debate for like years to come. Is Retsuko orange or yellow?
On spring 2020, we'll have an answer.
Yeah. Oh, I actually don't. Is it supposed to come out spring 2020?
I assume. Either
You
way,
know, the thing is that season 2 came out in June, but like it technically I think mid-June was still the spring season. So I'm like, essentially, I was gonna be on whatever season Aggretsuko was gonna be on, so I could just talk about Aggretsuko. So I'm like, it could have been summer, to be honest. However, I was like, you know, it looks like it's gonna be spring. So
no matter when it airs, just move it to spring so you can talk about it.
Yes.
Nothing will stop you from.
So June is part of the spring season.
It is. So that was my reason. I'm like, yo, that shit is mine.
Do we know when season 3 is coming out?
No, I don't think anything's.
I'm guessing maybe next year. I hope they have another Christmas special or something. That shit was nice.
I know, me too.
It was
I think
nice.
they had announced it. They had announced the first one by now, though, so I don't think we're getting.
Damn, we're fucked. Okay,
Excuse me, sir. I did not consent to that.
Speaking of fucked, actually not fucked.
No fucking.
We have one more show to talk.
There is one
about.
really sus episode of it though.
Oh, is it fucked?
Yeah, it's like okay, I guess we should introduce the show for. It's MIRU Tights.
It's called MIRU Tights. I think it's just all in caps, so you have to say it with like a big voice, like
MIRU Tights is the show we're talking about. I'm talking about because I think I'm the only person that's watched it. But Becker has pseudo watched it because
I've seen the screenshots. I've seen people talk about it week to week. I'm like, I know.
What is this key art? What is this?
It's exactly what you think. So it's all basically just a short dedicated to a really popular artist who focuses specifically on tights. His name is Yomu. His Twitter is like Yum Yum, but it's like underscores between every single letter.
I thought his name was like Sergeant Pepper or something. Well, that's on Danbrew. His like in parentheses Sergeant Pepper or something.
But yeah, so this guy has a very intimate relationship with tights, and they basically made an anime centered around that. It's just a lot of close-up shots. It's a lot of close-up shots of legs. It's just 3 high school girls specifically who are good friends, and they engage in various situations where their tights are just the focal point. Like one girl, she's on the swimming team, but she was in the changing room and she forgot to take off her tights, so now she's wearing tights in a one-piece swimsuit. Oh my god. Or like this one girl does like cosplay on Twitter, and then she's just wearing tights in all of her cosplay because that's what she's there for.
That makes sense.
Anyways, the really weird episode I was talking about, it was very odd. It started off like, so also there's these 3 high school girls, and then there's the teacher who's voiced by Ai Kayano.
Oh yeah, no, the guy draws that teacher like a shit ton.
I think the teacher's like probably his most like well-known original character. But yeah, there's a male student who's just he's daydreaming about the teacher's tights, and then she comes over and she's like, why you daydreaming, big boy? Not like that, but basically and
then he became the teacher.
Everybody's gone from the class, and it's just him sleeping in class, and then she's also there, and then she basically I think it's implied that she gives him a foot job with her tights on. Yeah, through his pants, but like it's very it was very out of nowhere for the show.
So what you're telling me is she gave him an over-the-pants, through-the-tight foot job.
Yes.
Thank you, anime. Yeah.
Your favorite anime could never.
That's basically the whole show.
That sold it
There's
for
like
me.
3 really cute, or the teachers. That's not to say the teacher's not nice looking too, but yeah. Also, the blue-haired girl, the one that does like the cosplay stuff, she's like very unapologetically lesbian for like one of the other ones, and like she's always trying to fuck with her, and yeah. It's a ride, and it's only like 12 episodes of like 4 minutes each, and
it's a ride. Get it? Like sex.
Yeah. Also, the ED is kind of nice, being like 30 seconds long. But
you only have to be tortured for 30 seconds.
Yeah. It's chill.
I'm sad that I didn't get to watch the show in time.
But yeah, I guess if you're like a legs person, or I guess a foot person, this is
shout out to my good friend Ham.
Yeah, shout out Ham.
Shout out to Ham.
This is a show for you if that's your shtick. Yeah, there's really not much else about it. It's pretty much the whole thing. It's like various shots of tights due to different circumstances.
Thank you for all the footnotes.
Like, at one nice. I get that.
God, Becker.
And, in one episode,
I'm gonna kick you for that
with your foot.
That was the joke. Thank you.
In one episode, I think like the teacher's like lecturing them because they've been just like shit at being students or something, and they're like sitting on their knees because it's proper and stuff. And then they're just like cramped up after so long, and the other one gives her like another one like a leg massage or some shit. So yeah, it's that kind of show.
We need more fetish specific anime. I feel like
we had the look down on me while showing me your panties thing, which is getting a season 2. Also.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of horny young adult male otaku.
Yeah. It's
something. That is a world.
I should say that Yomu stuff is going to be sold by Faku pretty soon. Like, he's going to have art books. I went to a Faku presentation at Komoricon about a month ago, and they were like, "Oh shit, I know that artist." In their presentation, I'm like, "Oh shit, are they selling art books?" And turns out they are selling art books of this guy's art. So if you guys are interested, it's going to be a thing at some point. You can purchase his art and then do whatever you want with it, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, Yomu's art is very nice.
It is,
like, the way he draws faces sometimes is kind of weird, but like
that's clearly not like the focal point of this.
That's a man who knows how shadows work.
Yes.
Minus and I are just
Minus has been playing a gay porn
boys.
for like probably this entire podcast. I'm guessing.
Yeah, we want
Minus
to
is just as horny. Like
about Camp Buddy.
Hey, it's not the horniness. It's what you guys the
it's how you use the horniness.
Of the horniness. And
channel that energy.
Big horny.
I just we just like cute boys,
and they're
in all
super
their glory,
hung.
and y'all
Like,
talking
why are
about
they hung?
Tights?
Yeah, you guys have your tights. We have our summer camps. Like,
you got your Speedo tights.
It's interchangeable.
Jesus.
We have our Speedos and what are they called? Why am I blanking on this?
Oh, they got the jock straps.
Jock
Oh,
straps,
Jesus.
yeah.
Is that what you're into, Minus?
I'm not going to answer that once again.
He pleads the fifth.
We'll save that for after hours.
I love how this episode just turned into a hentai episode immediately.
Anyway, between this and arguing about what Corvetsko is.
You guys need to open up more representation. Have an LGBT hentai episode.
That's what that's what H4 was kind of about, was like a female representation episode. But like,
yeah,
we should have more gay representation in
the DJs.
In the DJs, yes. I guess we're done here. There's nothing else I have to say other than
that was quite the ending. the climax, as you would say.
The final load.
I believe MIRU Tyson gets season 2.
Ooh. Well, hopefully it airs in spring,
we already have one room,
so we can talk about it.
I forgot to mention One Room, but that's that's a last year thing. One Room is so last year.
That was so the special.
Yeah,
all we need.
I still need to watch One Room, actually. Uniform. Wait, did you guys ever watch Training with Hinako? Or like Bathing with Hinako?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I bought that show on Blu-ray, and I'm going to give it to Bacon at one point, like just as like a birthday present.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Wait.
Okay.
What is this?
Okay.
Sleeping with Hanako is... Just go watch it. Just go watch it.
Let's see. Sleeping with Hinako. Yes. It's about 45 minutes of a cute anime girl sleeping, and it's great. It's like a work of art.
Wait. It's just 45 minutes of her sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at one point she wakes up and she goes to the fridge and stuff.
You just watch her,
But like, I mean, it's semi-realistic. Like, you can't just fall asleep like that easily. You gotta toss and turn a little bit, right? Like,
I don't remember if it covered like the existential dread part of trying to fall asleep though. So
it has a 4.47.
I'm sorry, it's 49 minutes, not 45 minutes. What was I thinking?
There's also training and bath time with Hinako.
Dude, it's
no.
Please watch these, Chrispy.
No. Why would I put myself bath time with Hinako and Hiyoko? What the fuck are you guys
training
watching?
with Hinako's gonna get you swole. Like,
yeah, you don't need dumbbell or like dumbbell.
Annie Torre.
I need to purge my history now.
Oh, come on. That's quitter talk. You gotta watch it. You won't do it, no balls.
Hey, don't call me a quitter. I don't spit.
What? Hey, whoa. Hey. I wasn't expecting... Okay, that's a good stopping point. Oh, man.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, something spring section is coming up. I think Moses is hosting that part. I'm not totally sure.
Summer.
Yeah, summer.
You mean summer?
Dude,
we just did spring.
Summer.
Oh
We've
my gosh.
bloomed.
That's a good show, actually. I like Bloom Into You. That was a good show. I enjoyed that.
That's a really good
Not that
show.
it has to do with anything, but, you know, it was cool. I watched it. It was vibey. It was a vibe.
This has been a wild
Dude,
discussion.
see, this is why
man.
this is why I think spring section is like always the best section, is because I somehow like create the weirdest discussion in each section. It's great. How do we go from like debating whether something is yellow or orange to just talking about porn or spitting or whatever? How we do that is beyond me, but you know, we do it anyway.
Oh man.
All right. See you, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.
My.
Not entirely sure how I want to like transition from this video to the next. So I guess I could say like, what's on your mind, Joe Budden?
Why do I always want to make the dog feel good by playing with their fucking privates?
Okay. That's interesting, I guess.
I want my dog to be happy. All four of your paws are just on the ground, touching the dirt. You go out there, lift your leg, come back in the house, eat some chicken, and go to bed. That's been your life for 10 years? Nah, man.
Well, I immediately regret asking that. Anyway, summer and fall should be pretty freaking sweet. I think. I actually haven't heard them, so I'm just kind of going off of the vibes. The vibes that I've curated in my head. Stay safe.